How about now?
Were you doing that on purpose?
No, I'm just an idiot sometimes. My computer decided to take an update right before I signed in. So
Well, I hear you. Do you hear me? You hear me.
I hear you, Jim.
Steve, I don't hear you at all. No. Okay, we can talk to each other. What is... Lord, LaGrange, you're killing me.
Hello, hello.
Yep, I'm here.
We can't hear you, Steve.
Yeah, Steve, we're not hearing nothing from you. See, I've been screwing with things here because I thought it was me. It's not me.
It's definitely Steve. Because I hear you, Jim.
Okay, good. Then that is two of us who are not screwed up tonight.
So maybe we can do the show without Steve.
I guess we're going to while he figures out what... Steve and I recently migrated our main machines to Windows. And I think I'm Windows savvy. I've been using it since they invented Windows 3. But, woo.
How many floppy disks was that install?
Oh, that was like 4, I think. Something like that. I don't know what's going on. Hey, guys, welcome to Nuggets. We're going to talk to Ed, who is here for M17 tonight. Steve is going to smile like a goon and apparently not make any sound.
My microphone's working. I guess
Okay,
you
now,
can hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Yeah, I just refreshed
You son
the
of a
browser.
bitch. I've been sitting here inventing new swear words and what is wrong with this thing? This is right.
Excellent.
Oh,
So this is Ham Nuggets, where we try things out live that we may or may not have ever tried before, like live streaming as an example.
like apparently live streaming, yes.
The joy of Windows.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Ed is here from M17, as Jim had mentioned before. Ed, tell us a little bit about M17, because I am going to learn this fresh with your crafty teaching, and I hear you're bringing in a heavy hitter when we get stuck.
Yeah, we got the heavy hitter coming up, and I feel like, Steve, we've talked about M17 every time I've seen you at the last, 3 Hamfest.
You're like a one-trick pony, Ed. It's all you talk about, man.
That's all I have.
That, and, well, like any good former policeman should, you talk about how you used to be a policeman all the
Yes.
time. Like Jim talks about how he used to be a firefighter and a vegan all the time.
I have never been a vegan. Never.
Firefighter. We normally don't like each other, Jim.
Well, I make
At least you're in-
concessions.
At least you're in a big city.
Right. Well, it's kind of like that. I don't know. In the county, we got along okay. They're
Yeah.
all right. I talk slower for them and chuck donuts at them every so often.
Is that what you do?
Yeah. I mean, I know cops got to have heroes.
Yeah, that's it. So, M17 is a new digital voice protocol that was started in 2017 in Poland by my buddy Wojciech here. SP5
Oh, nice.
WWP. Yeah, he's been traveling with us lately. So,
I keep one of those in my house, too.
Yeah, it's usually behind me, and it usually scares the crap out of people when I'm on video. And they're like, who's that behind you? But it was started in Poland by SP5 WWP in 2019. Where he had this idea that he wanted a digital voice protocol that wasn't encumbered by patents.
Politics.
Yeah,
Mhm.
patents and politics. And so he came up with the idea of using an open source codec, which is Codec 2, which was started down in Australia by David Rowe. I can't think of his call sign now, but it's a VE5 something or other. You can look him up. So Wojciech went out there and he started trolling on the internet to find people just like him who had the same idea. and it's since grown into a community of like-minded individuals that are all working together to get this awesome protocol on its feet and out there to the ham public.
Excellent.
I noticed there is now support for M17 and Pi-Star for the last three releases, I think.
Yeah, as long as your firmware is updated to version 1.6 on your MMDVM board, which we'll get into that a little bit later when the heavy hitter comes aboard. So,
right, usually Steve is the heavy hitter on this channel, and tonight the mighty Casey struck out.
It will be another Steve that's going to be the heavy hitter. You should be catching on to a theme here by now.
It's my Steve.
Yeah. What you drinking, Ed?
What do we got tonight? We have
kind of cloudy.
Yeah, it's a juicy, hazy IPA. Little Voodoo Ranger.
Nice. Voodoo Ranger's good stuff.
Yeah. I love the names they come up with for all these beers. It's just so creative.
Yeah, I went into the craft beer store earlier, and it was just so overwhelming. I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
Well, and see, that's why I don't even mess with them, because I would buy something that I hated, and then, right next to something that was awesome maybe, but I have zero idea. So when I drink beer, which is not that often, I default back to PBR.
Nothing like a good PBR.
I do. That's about the only beer I like. Dos Equis is good too. I like it.
So most interesting beer in the world.
I'm drinking from a Duff's Brooklyn pint glass.
Nice.
Speaking of PBR, so it's a heavy metal bar in Brooklyn. It's like a shrine to heavy metal. So if anybody ever makes their way to New York City, hit me up and we'll go have some PBRs at Duff's.
Hell yeah.
Great place.
If I ever make it to New York City, but absolutely.
I mean, I know you're a fireman and all, but I'll protect you.
Thank you.
If that's what you're worried about.
And so it begins, folks, just like old times. If you're offended by friendly banter between grown men, you should probably go watch a video or something.
Yeah. Trigger alert for all you sensitive snowflakes out there. There will be banter.
Banter is a good thing.
So, Ed, how long have you been in ham radio?
So this is my, it's my 30th year. October will be 30 for me. Yeah, I've been around quite some time. Took a little bit of a break to work for a living. But
that's how they get you.
Yeah, I've been back for about the last 5 years or so.
So who got you started? The 30 years is a long time ago.
I got started listening to scanners. My uncle was a firefighter. He was FDNY, so I was about 4 or 5 years old, and he gave me a 5-channel crystal Bearcat scanner that I used to listen to FDNY constantly. And then eventually I got into CB. I had a CB back when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and the little pain in the butt that I used to mess with all the truckers all the time, and then I got myself a programmable scanner, and I would do all sorts of spectrum scanning and searching, and I found ham radio. And at the time, you needed a license. I'm sorry, there was a Morse code requirement, so I kind of had no interest at all in that. I just waited till they removed that, and probably got licensed around 21, 22 years of age.
Okay.
I think it was 21.
So, yeah, that's pretty much how I kind of got into ham radio. Now, I never got my license until 2019. But always had an interest in radio, had a crystal scanner, one of those Bearcat ones with the little LEDs on the front as it changed frequencies.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun back. Back when I got licensed, the repeaters were just jam packed with people. If you're doing any sort of the commuting in the morning, it was like I had an hour commute, and maybe I got like 4 turns in the round table because there was just so many people involved. And,
but that was back before cell phones, right? Before they were popular.
Yeah, pretty much. And then when I got back into radio, probably around 2015, 2016 or so, I started scanning first, and it was like no activity whatsoever on the radio. So I was like, what the hell is going on here? And
people all talking to their wives.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I remember the phone patches back in the day. People were calling and telling their wife they were on their way home and checking in with the kids and all of that. So
now, do you guys up there in New York, are you all digital? Is FDNY digital, or are they still analog? What about the PD?
They're both analog. They're both operating in UHF T-band, and NYPD has way over 100 frequencies, and I think only 3 or 4 of them are actually encrypted via P25. But for the
Okay.
most part, it's just an analog system. Same
Ed?
thing with FDNY.
That is interesting.
This
Yes,
is a
sir.
time on Nuggets when we dance.
Oh, Lord. Ed, you are dancing like you belong here, man. That's it.
It's for the coffee. 43 years as a ham. Congratulations. That is fantastic. Thank you very much.
I was curious about that. That's why I asked that, because Montgomery, I'm down here in Montgomery, Alabama area, and they're all digital. The fire department is freaking encrypted.
Really?
Digital. Yeah, P25 phase 2. PD's got main dispatch channel and a couple of car-to-car channels that are unencrypted, but the fire department is 100% AES 256 crypto.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I'm about 60 miles east of New York City, so I'm out here in one of the counties. I'm in
Right.
Suffolk County on Long Island, and our police department is not encrypted as of yet. It's kind of in the middle of going through some changes, so we're really not sure where it's going to land. But the county directly to the west of me, in between myself and New York City, is totally their police department is totally encrypted, and it's been that way for probably about the last 12 years or so.
That's about the same here.
Yeah.
When Montgomery switched off their, I think it was the EDAX system that they used to have. I think it was EDAX, Johnson's P25-ish trunk system. When they switched off of that and went to P25, that's when the fire department engaged encryption. And then I was in a county fire department. There's Montgomery City and then 8 county fire departments. And we're all basically UHF for dispatch. And then there was 6 very expensive P25 radios each department got on a grant. And that was about it.
I don't see the fire departments here coming encrypted because they're all volunteer fire departments. So I don't think they're going to throw that into their budget at all. The police departments, it's a 50-50 shot right now whether the county police department's going to switch over or not.
Our county cops are not encrypted at all. The city PD, other than their dispatch and a couple of car-to-car channels, are encrypted.
So going back to right before I retired the summer of 2020. There's a bunch of protests and whatnot in the city, but I cannot tell you the amount of battle fangs that were out there in the wild for the protesters.
Yeah, I can
all
imagine.
Listening and transmitting on our unencrypted frequencies. So that was quite interesting.
Right.
In celebration of all 3 of us being on Windows and having Windows cause problems tonight, we're playing the Windows Error remix.
Right.
Thank you very much, Ron, for joining the channel as a channel member. We will look forward to you at the next members.
Ron, I will see you in Hamvention, old man.
So going back to me getting back into ham radio, kind of ties into M17 a bit. I was sitting at a training class, and the speaker kind of lost my interest a little bit, and until he started talking about him being a ham when he was younger and talking about fox hunting. And that kind of perked me up, and I started Googling. I'm like, I really should get back into radio. And I found the Ham Fest the next day. So I'm like, that's it. Well, I'm going to the Ham Fest. This is going to be great. This is really going to spark my interest. So I get down there, and there's a gentleman selling the TYT MD 2017, big old DMR radio.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what it is. It was like $125. And I'm looking at the thing. I'm like, now, granted, I've been away from the hobby probably about 17, 18 years at this point. And I asked the guy, I was like, dude, what's up with this radio? Why is it so cheap? He goes, oh, it's DMR. I'm like, what the heck is DMR? And he goes, oh, it's a new digital protocol. He goes, everybody's on DMR. You should, you're just getting back into radio. You should get a DMR radio. It's like, all right, $125. It's not going to kill me. I buy the radio, bring it home, try to program it. It was just a total cluster. Couldn't figure anything out.
Yeah.
Getting back into radio, I had no...
That's how DMR is.
Yeah,
yes, indeed.
I had no network of people around me to help me with the programming. So I was reading and watching YouTube videos, and it just didn't hit me. It's like a good 2 or 3 weeks I was trying to program this radio and figure out, why I couldn't just program a frequency.
Right.
That's
it is
what
hard.
I was used to. Yeah. And then it must have been like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was sleeping, and like all of a sudden everything just made sense. I jumped up and I wrote my first code plug at like 3:30 in the morning, almost a month after having this radio. I was like, this is horrible. There has to be a better way. And then I stumbled upon the M17 project, and I was like, this thing is awesome. this is great. This is exactly what I'm looking for. At the time, Wojciech was showing off a handheld that he designed and he built, and I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do. So I was able to get in touch with them, and became part of the team shortly thereafter.
That's awesome. I have played with all the digital modes except M17 because I don't have any hardware, and there's going to be questions about that too.
Sure.
And I noticed that DMR, P25, NXDN are all pretty similar. They're first cousins at the very least.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for, and DStar is complicated in its own right. Just because in my mind it really doesn't. It just doesn't seem logical. DMR, I've got a handle on now. I've programmed so many DMR radios and P25 and NXDN. I'm good on all those. But DStar TO and I have had just a lot of excitement with DStar. And then Fusion, I think, is pretty simple.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, again, most of these protocols were written for commercial purposes.
Yep. Business and a lot of public safety, too, on DMR, right?
And that's one of the things it's one of our selling points with M17 is that this is a protocol that's built by ham radio operators for ham radio operators.
Right.
So we try and dumb it down for people like myself and try and make it easy to get involved.
Right. So where are you guys at on? And Steve is kind of here.
Steve must be running Windows too. So James has a question for you real quick. Should I skip DMR and move direct to M17? Sell him.
Absolutely. Skip DMR. I think the big selling point for DMR with everybody is the cheapness of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can go find a DMR radio on Amazon for $18, $22, or the little
the RD5R. Yeah.
No, there's the other one with it's like 16 channels, doesn't have a display. I think it's COTRE is the spelling of it. Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of guys that are hacking that and redoing the firmware for that. So I mean, it's definitely a cheap entry into the world of digital.
Yes, DStar was from Jarl.
Yeah. So.
And Ryan is saying DMR is P25 phase 2. No. DMR tier 2 is not trunking. P25 phase 2 is trunking. DMR tier 3 brings in trunking. And the protocols are similar, but they are not the same. You cannot talk on a DMR network with a P25 radio or vice versa. Depending on the sketchy Chinese DMR radio you buy, you may be able to wiggle it onto P25. But you can't find a cheap you can find an old used Motorola. Sideboom probably has 30 of them. I've got
in
one.
the mail
today. Yeah.
So now, if I'm not mistaken, Fusion is very similar to P25.
Yes.
And or is it NXDN and Fusion are very similar?
They're all, like I said, they're all like almost cousins because they use very close to the same codec with a few differences. And then there's some protocol. I don't know how to say this the right way. There's some protocol stuff like P25 has a NAC. NXDN calls it a RAN. It's like a system number kind of deal.
Right.
Fusion doesn't have that, at least not visible to the ham. It's all under the hood if there is one. But they both use something and I can't remember all the details. I researched this and did a video on it like 2 years ago and have forgotten most of it now, but they're very close in protocol. You can actually do P25 phase 1 on a C4 FM radio. I'm almost positive. And I think I did it.
That and definitely NXDN too. I think I've seen some videos of that being done as well.
Yeah, those three protocols, they're just a hair difference between all three of them. And if you can program DMR, then you absolutely can jump in and program a P25 or a NXDN radio because they're all...
Yeah, as long as you get the software. And that's the other thing. These NXDN and P25 radios are all commercial radios. And now you have to get a programming cable, and some of the old Motorola's require a RIB box and finding the software. So it's not an easy venture. You get the radios dirt cheap at a Hamfest, but...
Right. Yeah,
everybody knows they can't work them.
Right. That is the allure of the Motorola radios. You can buy a $2,000 or $3,000 Motorola P25 radio for a couple $100, but then you're on a quest for the next 6 months finding the software and a cable off of eBay,
and then you have to replace the battery. Don't forget to replace that battery,
right? And then hope for the best.
Because those those are NiCad batteries usually, right?
Yes, they are.
So
maybe lithium metal hydride. LIMH.
I know they get a memory and they turn to crap pretty quick.
Yeah, the NiCads absolutely will. The NIMH. I said LI. It's NIMH.
Nickel metal hydride. Yeah, you just mentioned, Ed, you just mentioned a top secret word that sounded like RIB box.
RIB. RIB.
Radio interface.
RIB.
Something, yeah.
Radio interface box. I think that's correct.
Yeah,
I have that's a dingus that you have to program a whole lot of Motorola radios. Now, the one I have a XTS3000, and it does not require a RIB. I think you could use a RIB with it, but...
Yeah, so
and I don't remember, Ed, how much do those things run? They're not cheap.
So there was... I mean, you could definitely put a RIB together yourself with a couple of transistors and a resistor or two on a piece of perf board. But aftermarket RIBs, usually around $89 to like $120.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
For something you build yourself with 25 cents worth of parts.
I have this cute little SL3300 DMR Motorola radio, and this is just programmed with a micro USB cable.
Right.
So that was one of the nicer things about this radio.
Yeah, it's a lot like a DigiRig, but it's for Motorola. It's a box that sits between your computer and the radio that makes them talk pretty with each other.
Yep.
Yeah, and most of the older Motorola radios, you need a slow, like 286 teetering on a 386 computer with the serial port on the back. And
yeah, when I bought the Moto, I bought an XP machine working off of eBay for $50, so I could program the Motorola because the software did not like Windows 7, and it did not like the VM on my Mac. And so I bought somebody's old Dell that had a bootable working XP on it, and that actually worked. They also had a real 9-pin serial port.
And apparently, I don't know, do we use All-Star here?
Here in this room, yes.
Yeah, so apparently on the HamVoIP All-Star package, there's a way of programming the Motorola radios via the Raspberry Pi. So that's something I have to look into and mess around with that a little bit.
Well, I mean, the RIB is just like a cereal box, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's usually run on a 9-volt battery too, to give it a little power.
So we had some questions that popped in. Steve's almost here. We have one from Jeff. Jeff says he's hunted his RFI down to his monitor, and he wants to know, he says he can swap the tone by changing the refresh rate on the monitor. He wants to know if he can choke it out in some way, or is it a new monitor that he needs?
I'm reading this again.
I mean, I would go
is he talking for his... Go ahead.
His computer screen is generating RFI on his radio.
Well, choose another frequency for what?
For the refresh rate of the screen.
Oh, yeah, you can. You can do that through Windows or Mac or Linux.
Yeah, so if he wants to keep the refresh rate that he enjoys, I would start off by putting some toroids on the video interface cable and on the power cable on the screen, and keep adding toroids from there. And I would start with, what is it, a Mix 30 or a Mix 43?
You'd have to ask Ape about that. If he's in the chat, he could tell you.
Yeah.
I would also say, Jeff, I would almost bet you're a gamer with 144 megahertz refresh rate on that monitor. And that's your problem right there. So if you drop it down to 60 hertz refresh instead of 144, that may make a huge difference, which is the refresh rate thing. These are all refreshing at 60. I've got 3 real monitors and a TV, and I don't have any problem with it because they're all at 60. But I'm not a gamer.
All right. Let's bring Steve in while we answer the next question. And Steve might have the answer for this.
Other Steve?
Hey, you can see my dinner.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, chow down. When do we get M17 repeaters?
We have.
There you go.
Yeah, there are definitely M17 repeaters out there. They're all over the world right now. And if you know anybody running a repeater that's running any of the the MMDVM modem boards, you can easily add M17 to that. There are
that's
a lot
right.
of multi-mode repeaters running around.
Nice.
We have a pretty popular repeater out here on the island, and it's running all the digital modes. So
And then Richard asked, who's going to make the first one? So you said somebody already has, and I told Richard that he could corner the market. He could just start making them today.
yeah, so we actually purchased a Bridgecom repeater for our lab up in New Hampshire that's at Steve's place, and we have an MMDVM modem hooked up to that, and we're just running M17 right from the MMDVM modem. So they're out there. It's just a matter of people enabling the M17 mode. There are a bunch of them already throughout the country.
See you later, Moto Yodo. we don't take the dad joke humor around here, my friend.
Right.
I'm joking, of course. Christiana wanted me to tell you that she lived in the Woodburn area, Ed, and thought that might ring a bell for you.
Woodburn?
I think it was Woodburn that she said. And then Don wanted to know if you had seen the cache infusion that FreeDV got, and where's your cache infusion? You had one.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple of grants already. ARDC's been very good and supportive of the M17 project, and we're actually we work along with the FreeDV guys with a couple different things.
Excellent.
Wojciech is on their board, so it's definitely we're using the same codec as they are. So there's there's similarities between the two projects, but yet we're different. FreeDV is for the HF bands for the most part right now.
Right. Yeah.
And M17 is VHF, UHF, and above. So
excellent. And then Cape Cod is asking if the internet crashes, do digital modes work? Yes. Yes, they do.
Simplex or battery.
Yeah, so the radios do radio stuff, and then you can also tunnel them through the internet and come out on the other side of the flat Earth if you'd like.
I don't know if he's trolling us or if that was a serious question, but
it's been asked and answered. We're good.
Yeah. Okay.
When does M17 version 1.0 release?
I think it's released already.
Woodhaven.
Oh, Woodhaven's in
is what she
Queens,
said.
absolutely.
Not Woodburn.
Yeah.
That was my mistake.
Yeah, I grew up in Ozone Park, so it's just a neighborhood away.
Excellent. Yeah, and Don is known to poke the chat a little bit, so
that's all right.
M17 version 1 is out. Steve, catch
I
up.
don't know what Steve's eating.
Well, let him finish his whatever that is.
I can't see what that is, Steve.
Yeah, we don't even want to guess.
Some kind of pasta, something.
Pasta with some sort of beef. That's my guess.
Is that a beef ragu with a delicious lemon butter caper sauce, or?
No. This is just
balsamic
chicken
reduction.
fried rice.
Oh, well, that's
even close.
acceptable. Good. That's good.
Yeah. Quick dinner.
So, what about hardware? So HTs.
All right. So when the project first started, Wojciech developed what was called the TR9, and it was basically a handheld that you could assemble yourself. There were some issues there. The RF side of it was kind of on the junky side, so we kind of scraped that, pushed that off to the side. And right now, they're working on a new FPGA-based handheld called the OpenHT. A bunch of members of the community are working on that. So that's something, hopefully, we're going to have a working demo of that. I don't know, Steve, what do you think? The next 3 or 4 months, maybe?
The idea is to have a working prototype before Friedrichshafen.
So it's field day weekend.
So not going to be at Hamvention.
Wrong. In the U.S., probably not for Hamvention, no.
Okay.
I believe that the first development boards will be going into Europe.
Yeah,
okay.
So if there is any possibility, Steve and I will have at least one with us semi-working, if anything.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, we'll look you up for sure.
We'll be floating around Hamvention.
I just realized you can see the hole in my wall.
We're not judging, man.
I thought it was a spider paying rent.
No. Hey, I let the spiders live rent-free here. They take care of all the bugs.
They do. They're our friends. They're our friends. And Jay Baker wants USB-C charging.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
There's also a piece of hardware that we were toying around with. It's the Module 17. Steve has
Yes.
another piece of hardware, but this Module 17, you'd hook it up from a DE9 connection to the back of a 9600 board capable radio.
So like
Okay.
the Alinco 135 or the Yaesu FT6000
Yeah.
We've had
or
really good
8900s.
Yeah, we've had really good success with the Yaesu products, particularly the FT M6000. We've been using that a bit. On the side, you'd hook up a cheapo Kenwood / Baofeng speaker mic, and all the modulation and demodulation is done on board. Probably in the next couple of weeks, the developer of this, DB9 MAT over in Germany, he's going to start working on the second revision of this, or might be the third or fourth revision. Going to try and shrink it down to more or less to the size of like a handheld radio,
Nice.
a handheld microphone. Think maybe like a large Motorola commercial mic, one of those beefy ones.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going for, and we'd be able to connect that right into the back of the 9600 board data port.
Oh, that would be swank. I have a 135, an Alinco. For
So it looks
All-Star
like a
that I've
serial
never
port,
set
but
up.
it's not a serial port.
Well, there's a dingus that you can go to take it to the serial port, which I have that dingus. That's for my All-Star node that I still haven't ever set up. So,
One of these days, Jim.
right?
Bob from RFinder has been working on doing an implementation of M17 over IP. There's a beta out there that he's been diligently working on for the last few months. Hopefully that'll be out there to all the users of the B1 Plus in the next few months or so.
The B1 Plus or the older B1 too?
I'm not sure. I know it's definitely
Okay.
in the B1 Plus. I'm not sure if it's going to be backwards compatible to the B1. I think he was talking about getting it working on the tablets as well.
Okay.
So, also the TNC 3, which I have in my hand, the portable Bluetooth TNC WX90. Rob, who's the proprietor of MobiLinked, he's a member of the M17 team, and there's some implementations of M17 firmware out there that'll work M17 over the Bluetooth TNC.
So with the Bluetooth TNC, you can take any one of the radios that thing works with, like the UV5R or the FT60.
So no, we're still going to need the 9600 board data port.
Even with the MobiLinked?
Yeah.
Huh.
So you'd get the appropriate cable for, let's say, the FTM 6000, and you'd hook it up that way.
So the question Glenn is asking us about, how simple will this be compared to DMR? And based on your conversation when we started this, I'm hoping that it is a whole lot simpler than DMR.
Yeah.
You can't make it any more complicated.
It's nowhere near what DMR is.
So DMR was business radio that was then backwards shoehorned into ham life.
Yep.
And M17 was ham radio that was shoehorned into ham radio. So it should be slightly easier.
Should
For
be
hams,
easier.
by hams.
I'm looking forward to it catching on. So how does it compare? How does it compare in bandwidth that the voice traffic is using? Is it 12.5 or 25 or what?
Go ahead, Steve. You're muted, buddy.
This new microphone, I'm starting to get a little irritated with. But
We
anyway,
feel your pain, believe me.
The channel bandwidth is 9 kilohertz.
9. Okay.
So it is under the 12.5, but it's still wider than 6.25. But it's still considered like narrowband, so it's under that 12.5 kilohertz channel bandwidth that you see for a lot of commercial stuff. Definitely under 25, but it's still 9600 baud, 4800 bits per second. So it's giving you that full data rate, but at a smaller bandwidth.
Okay. Yeah, because what DMR, one channel of DMR is 12. No,
12.5.
it's 6. It's 12.5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 12.5, but they're fudging the numbers by having 2 time slots.
Right.
So you're getting 2 conversations in one channel. So you're getting that 6.25 experience with a 12.5 channel. Yeah.
Right. And then Fusion, they have digital narrow and digital wide. I think it's the same thing. It's 625 and 12.5, something like that.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
I don't remember.
The narrow is like nobody uses it.
Right. Because it sounds like crap.
It sounds garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, the voice wide I think is a full 12.5 channel because it is a ham radio mode, so we don't have to worry about that bandwidth being too wide.
Right. Now is M17 going to do anything like time slots like DMR does? Has that ever been a consideration or?
No. There was
the math would be weird if you did.
Yeah. Not only that, but we do a lot of experimentation with satellites. And TDMA, when you're shooting that up into a satellite, you lose the timing after a certain distance. There have been studies that say that TDMA can be used with satellites, but the way that DMR is implemented and the way that it would be implemented for like any other radio protocol, terrestrial radio protocol, it just won't work with satellite. With M17, we are able to still do stuff with the ISS or even QO100. That's one of our big targets that Wojciech's been having fun with.
That pesky speed of light gets in the way with satellites.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it does.
So Scott's asking about the TNC34 again.
So there are a couple of handhelds that are out there that are 9600 board capable, but I don't think anybody has had any success getting that run. I think one of the VX6,
either the 6 or the 8.
Yeah, one of them is 9600 board capable, but I'm not sure anybody has gotten that to work. So I'm going to go with no right now.
But it seems like interest is picking up a lot for M17.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I'm hearing from the various things you guys have got going on hardware wise and software wise. And
it's something new. A lot of people are interested in it because it's built for hams by hams, and it's new technology, and the community is huge. We have people all over the place that are helping out and interested in M17. So we're getting a lot of following. There's a group of hams in Thailand who have taken the M5 stack and turned it into a
get out of town.
Yeah, Dave turned this into. I have a little microphone hooked up to it, but you can go
nice, Ted.
Digital to analog and get into our network using the M5 stack and a mic.
Oh, now I've got to go buy a dang M5. Crap!
I thought you already had one.
No, I did not. I didn't get that one. I got that weird one. I think Ape got the M5 stack. I got the M5. I can't even remember what it was called. Those little orange, like
M5 stick.
Oh, yes, I had the tiny one.
Yes, it looks like a fat pack of gum or something.
Yes. I don't have a USB-C.
And I sold that or gave that to, I think Thump got that. I gifted him with that.
Yeah, my batteries did too, but I got the same thing, the M5 stack. It's pretty cool.
What you're saying is they're very useful. Because the batteries are dead because you haven't touched them in a while.
Right. So with the M5 stack, I have a open spot in my truck. I don't remember that M17 is in the open spot yet.
I do not believe it is, and I don't think it will be.
Oh, sons of guns!
Because it's a proprietary software system that those gentlemen use with that. So
yeah, that's kind of what I figured, but I had to ask.
So you guys sent along this SumSpot USB, and we're supposed to like try stuff out in real time here on the show.
Yes. Sometimes it works, and
I broke the tape seal, but I haven't
was
done
this
any
an
more
unboxing, Steve? Oh my gosh!
I sent that quite some time ago.
You did?
Yeah.
I've been waiting.
Patiently.
We're gonna break the seal.
Well, I think I think you guys were supposed to be on the show quite some time ago.
Yeah.
I didn't remember how long. I knew it had been a hot minute.
That means a long time.
Right. That's Southern for it's been a while.
Yeah.
Bless your heart, Jim.
I was a detective, Jim.
There you go.
Nothing gets past you, Ed.
But I'm not from the South.
Where are you from?
Chicago area.
Yeah, very nice. That's where MobiLink is based out of.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I grew up in Kankakee, which is about an hour south of Chicago proper.
So this is about the size of a USB thumb drive,
That looks like that DV stick dongle almost.
except it has an antenna on the end of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So the newer versions of the Zoom stick are antenna free, external antenna free. They have a built-in
Because
antenna.
they built in.
Built in.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I have put it together. We have now completed the unboxing part of the video.
But does it work?
In its current state, no. That's what you're here for, Steve.
Oh no.
Steve, you're the
We're all
heavy hitter.
doomed.
Yeah.
I'm well. I'm something, all right.
Oh, you certainly are, buddy.
Yes,
So
sir,
the next
Scott.
the next thing I was told is that we need some way to connect this to some computerized device, and I was told y'all's device of choice is an old Android with an OTG cable.
Now,
On the go.
I don't know if we flashed that one. Did we send that to him direct or?
Yeah, that was sent direct
All
from
right.
one of the.
I think
So
HRO.
we gotta flash that with a new version of the DVM firmware.
Oh, okay.
So if you got like a Raspberry Pi that's running Pi-Star, we can flash it with that.
Raspberry Pi running Pi-Star. I do. I just have to dig out a cable. Can we just do it on regular Linux?
Yeah, we could do it on regular Linux as
Okay,
long as
let's
you got
do that.
the proper tools.
Let's get that computer cleared out.
Oh,
Playing lullabies.
Playing
Well,
lullabies.
it's
Don't put
reminding
everybody
me
to
it's time
sleep.
to go to bed.
Nice. All right, let's present, share screen,
Present arms.
present arms.
Oh, that's been a minute since I heard that.
Okay, so taking the dingus and plugging it into the USB port first, or doing something
Yes.
else first? All right.
Yep. So
Let's
DVM.
let's do this.
HS.
As far as I know, Lon, there's only one M5 stack.
It's the Core 2, I believe, is the one that we're using.
Okay.
All right, so we plugged it in.
There's a couple of different flavors of the M5 stack, but the Core 2.
Okay, great.
And it has been recognized. Leaf Labs, full speed
Yes, Kenneth.
USB device, and it
Hey,
is
Ken.
a USB ACM device.
Cool. I just sent you a link in the chat there. That's going to be our build instructions that we're going to work with.
Oh, okay, awesome. Let me get that onto a browser over here.
Oh, things are getting real now, folks. We have build instructions live on Nuggets. This is going to go well. We did, Steve and I did a D-Star episode. Oh, God, it's been a while. And we were actually beating our heads against a brick wall for 2.5 hours. And most of that time, it was not our fault.
We were not wrong.
Well, we have
Yeah.
faith in our Steve, KC1AWV. I believe he saved Jason 2.0 on an all-star build in one of his shows.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Jason and Kyle were having some issues, and
So yeah, these build instructions are basically everything that we need to do in order to get that Zum stick to be flashed with the latest version. Since you got a USB stick, you'll need to scroll down to the USB stick instructions.
And there's no link.
No,
There's no table of contents. Somebody quick
No.
do a pull request on this repo.
It's a monolithic MD.
I'm scrolling, boys.
Yep,
scrolling.
there we go.
This
That was
is
a great
Windows.
movie.
This is
So
Linux close
that's
enough.
Linux. Yep. So we don't have to worry
Not-
about the Pi-Star stuff, but the start where it does all the update instructions. Now you're running Mint, so you are a Debian derivative.
Yeah.
You should be able to copy and paste those.
So I have most of this stuff. Sudo apt update. Fine.
The important one is the GDB ARM stuff because it needs the library files for the ARM processor. or something like that.
Yeah. It's in this payload that I'm putting on here now.
So this will be the first time that I've done this on like a standard Linux install, not a
Not a Pi.
yeah, not a Pi. Actually, I think I zapped mine when I was coming in.
How could you afford
Whoops.
a Pi? Do you hustle cocaine on the side? Are you an international diamond thief? Or
No, actually, I bought these years ago.
yeah, minor before the drama started.
Yeah, definitely before COVID.
Right.
I bought about a dozen Raspberry Pi 4s because I was building a cluster. So now I just have them sitting around doing nothing. But
Hey
Don't
man,
say
you
that.
could.
put them into things.
That's like winning the lottery if you sold those things, Steve.
Yeah, you want to know something? I was seriously considering funding.
I mean, it
my
ain't the
next radio
Powerball,
with
but
it.
it's like the 5-number match at least.
Yeah, a couple $100 here and there. Yeah,
Right.
I mean they're well loved, but
All that matters is that they're loved. So I dropped the link in the chat so that everybody at home can play along if they want to play along. But I don't know that many people have the ZumSpot.
Now this
Steve,
is
what are
just
you
for the
running?
ZumSpot. You can enable if you have a Pi running PiStar, you can enable M17 on that as well.
Correct.
yes, but stock PiStar does not have the updated version of MMDVM host, which is the actual program that runs the modem on the board. So you won't be able to get M17 to work on it. But if you do upgrade the firmware,
Yep.
it should be okay.
Well, so let me ask you, because I can get into one of my Pis right now. Because like you, I'm Pi forward. M17 will show up whether or not I can run it. Is that correct?
M17 is a mode that should be somewhere in stock PiStar. I don't know if it's actually displayed on the dashboard.
Yeah, you've got to go to the advanced config, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to enable it in advance, but it's buried. You have to enable it in a few places.
Yeah, it's
But-
deep down in the menu somewhere. I'm pulling
But
mine
if
up
you don't
right now.
if you don't have the proper firmware on your board, it's not going to work.
And you can update the firmware from the CLI in PiStar, which I think is the command you had at the beginning of that MD file Steve's reading, right?
Yeah.
For the firmware update.
So you can update the firmware directly from a version of PiStar? I thought there was something missing.
You got to do it from the CLI.
You can
Which
you
I'm-
can build it on PiStar, and you can flash custom firmware in PiStar.
Yeah.
But the typical update process in PiStar does not have the binaries for
The firmware. Yeah.
MMDVM 1.6, right?
Right. And that's what I was looking at right now. PiStar. What is that command?
PiStar
Please do not
dash
download any different
MMDVM
code.
flash something or other.
Oh, that's the MMDVM HS hat flash. That's the one you're
Yes.
talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, hell, I'm upgraded. I'm almost positive because I'm an upgrade whore.
It happens.
But I don't have any hardware to do this. So I could turn it on for, Okay.
Now those defines are literally top down. So as you scroll through, you'll see them. So you'll uncomment that one, comment out the LibreKit.
Leave the hash mark in front. I haven't done C programming in a minute.
Yeah, just the 2 slashes.
Okay. I'm looking for ADF.
You gotta comment out the LibreKit first. It doesn't tell you to do that, but there you go.
That one's
Yep, so
good.
that one's good.
Oh, there it is.
That one's good.
That one's
Yep.
good.
There you go.
Gotta find that enable scan mode.
You just passed it.
Already set.
So everything else should be good there. Now it's just a make bootloader, and so this is the interesting thing is that there's no boot switch on the stick. So what you got to do is you got to plug the stick in, and within like 5 seconds, start the flash process, because that's the bootloader, is waiting to see if there's anything to be pushed onto the
Right, onto
Okay.
the
Yep,
STM
firmware.
chip. Yeah,
Yeah.
onto the flash. So you don't have to worry about the Pi-Star or MMDVM
Nope.
stuff, but that right there, you'll just do dev TTY ACM. What was it? 2? I think
It's 0. We'll find out in a second.
So I have a question. Tio's
Yeah,
also
there's
going to
2.
need to update his instance of Pi-Star also, correct?
Yeah.
And this is going to do the flashing you were talking about right now when I hit enter?
It should, yes.
Okay, so I have to unplug the USB stick first.
Right.
And then plug it in and hit it.
Ta-da!
And I had to hit it a couple of times
Yeah.
because it hadn't registered with the OS yet. And then I got it right when it did register. So I did it 3 times in a row.
Okay. So, yeah, now that stick should be ready, so we can go ahead and... You got DroidStar on your Android device, right?
I do not, but we can get there. Let's stop
Great.
sharing this screen.
So
Let's
before we
share
get
this
there,
screen.
shouldn't we update Pi-Star to actually
need-
receive?
Let's make sure that the
That's
stick
17.
works first.
Okay. As he's still eating over here.
That's good.
So if I turn on M17 here on my device, while I won't be able to hear anything, I should see him pop up on my dashboard, I would guess. I mean, no guts, no glory.
Yeah, if he connects to your reflector, sure.
Okay, so I have pulled out the USB stick, and I'm
Okay.
going to insert it into
Nope.
the phone. No?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
We gotta get DroidStar on there first.
All right, let's find DroidStar, which is probably already on here.
So M17 is the only protocol in DroidStar that works upon installation.
Update.
And that's due to the fact that we're using an open source codec.
Okay, now before you open it, go back to your home screen. Now go ahead and plug the stick in. We should see it identify and ask you if you want to open DroidStar.
It's plugged in. It's lit up. It's flashing lights. It wants to do FT8CN to handle Maple. And I
Oh,
will
so you
say-
got another program on there. That's fine. Just
I'll say
cancel
no to that one.
And go ahead and open DroidStar.
We were so close.
All right. Now you got everything else set up in there as far as DMR ID, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't think I have anything set up in here.
Okay. So first thing first, up at the top, put in your call sign and DMR ID.
So go back to settings. It's
Back in settings.
It's down a little bit.
I see it. DMR ID. I don't know about DMR ID.
Yeah.
Okay. ESS ID.
No, you don't need it
None.
because we're just working with M17. And at the very top of the settings window,
Okay.
you should see modem. That's a drop down. And you should see a Maple
Maple.
device there. Yep. Go ahead and
Yep.
select that. All right.
Okay.
Now you can go back to main and drop down where it says mode.
Oh,
Switch
look at
to
that. It's the first one.
M17. Yep. And where it says host, drop that down and scroll all the way to the bottom. And you should
Okay.
see MMDVM direct.
Okay.
All right. And then click connect.
Doesn't like my DMR ID?
Use Toads.
Go to hosts, the hosts tab in there, and then click on, is there, oh, I'm sorry, no, back in settings. There should be a button somewhere down in that
The
set
bottom
of
quarter
settings.
of the page.
Yeah, it's update host files and update DMR IDs.
Update hosts. updating. Please
Yeah,
stand
you
by.
can just click OK. It only takes a second. And then
And
update
then
ID
update
files.
IDs.
Yep. And click OK. And now let's try and connect.
Connect. Allow DroidStar to access Maple. Yes.
Yep. And then just click OK. We don't have to worry about the vocoder.
Because there isn't one?
Right.
Well, it's codec too. It says disconnect, so I'm now connected.
It should also show down at the bottom where it says MMDVM. It should show ZumSpot, version 1.6.0, but we're not seeing that.
No device.
So disconnect.
Go back to settings and make sure it's still selected. Back up to the top.
Maple. Yep.
Yep.
So it's looking for. Oh, hey, there you go. All right, now you can. If you have a
Restart.
Do you have a radio tuned to a frequency that is set in the settings?
Set in the settings of DroidStar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So if you got a
usually
UHF radio,
it's
all the way
usually
down at the bottom.
438.85.
438.8 for this.
Yep.
And is it? I need to do that in DMR mode.
Nope, just do it in FM mode
Analog.
because we're going to check to make sure that it transmits.
Okay.
You're just going to hear a bunch of digital noise.
Booting up. Please stand by.
Please stand by.
All right. I'm already on low power, so I'm not going to have to worry about that. 438.80000.
No, it's 8.5.
Well, it
It's
says
set to 80.
Okay.
I changed yours.
main.
All right, now
And
just
then
hit
we did
TX.
TX from here.
Yep.
Allow. Security.
Hit connect again, Tio.
It works.
Hey, there we go.
That doesn't even sound like digital.
Now with you heard static though, or something that
Yes.
sounds like static. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So now you have a M17 capable HT
Cool.
in quotation marks.
That's the two of these things. These now
nope.
make one radio.
Nope, the USB stick itself is your radio. That's your
Oh.
transceiver,
Yeah.
and then the phone is controlling your transceiver.
Let's put that.
Tio, that went much
there.
quicker than I thought this was going to go.
Well, remember, it wasn't our fault last time either.
That's true. I'm proud of you, bro.
Yeah.
Now, if you want, we can just go ahead and install the WPSD Pi-Star image to have you have a hotspot that can receive M17.
Yes. I need to let you guys talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Hi, Jim.
Well,
I'm good at vamping. I can tell you that.
Vamp, please. I gotta go
Ed
find
and
my-
I were carrying on quite the conversation before you got here, Steve. And then there was the 2 or 3 minutes of Steve T.O. having audio issues. So we were.
So before we get into that, can I just add this to an existing Pi-Star, or do I need a whole new Pi-Star?
You can add it to an existing Pi-Star as long as it's a 3 or 4.
Well, let me find where my
Ah.
Pi-Star is first.
Why 3 or 4? I'm on a 02W right now.
The 2W should
Oh.
work. The 2W
That's
should
fine.
work. It just won't be as fast.
Okay.
So the reason that I suggest a 3 or a 4 is because it actually has the processor power and the memory in order to be able to handle all the updates to the Pi-Star system that have been implemented by chip. The Pi 0W, the original, does
Right.
not have enough RAM that we've been able to see work correctly. It actually
Steve and I are
sent
not
faults out.
surprised about that. That thing is, yeah, that can be painful even with the original Pi-Star on it.
Yeah, it sent faults out and has a problem. So we believe, at least I believe, that it has to do with not enough RAM, just not enough on the Zero itself. The 02 seems to be working fine though.
Is that the cat?
The fly on
No,
the wall just took over.
Steve froze.
He's in terror, like I
The
did.
cat disconnected the internet.
No, I take care of my mother, and she's been walking around, and I'm hoping that she didn't knock something. Well, she probably just knocked something over.
Steve's
Go make
mom,
sure she didn't fall over.
she would have yelled.
Oh, if she would have yelled.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
She's a great cook, by the way.
Oh,
so.
she's a wonderful person.
So
I love her.
not a Pi 0, not fast enough. So
Pi
I have
0,
a
not
Pi
fast
4. Where do
Yes.
I go to download this image?
Oh, you had to ask.
Is it chip site w0chp.net?
Yeah, yeah. There you go. I don't need to paste anything.
So I have enabled, and I don't want to go down this road too much, but while Steve's doing that, so I have turned on all the M17 stuff in PyStar, which is under MMDVM host, and there's 2 M17 sections.
Mm-hmm.
And they both are turned on. Now it's asking me for a CAN, and I have that set to 0.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
So CAN is like it's channel access number. It's
Okay.
similar to a DMR color code.
Yeah, or a P25 NAC.
NAC. Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
Or a RAN on NXDN. Yeah, okay. I figured that's what that was.
Everybody's got their own
Lingo.
definition.
Yeah.
Steve's patiently waiting. W0chp.net.
It is not showing up an M17 protocol, though.
Oh, I think I know this guy. This site looks
Oh,
very
I'm sure
familiar.
you do. He's very
This
popular.
he's got a personality.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's an awesome person.
He's a great guy.
He even though he may
Not
be a little bit
ask
rough
for
around the
support.
edge. Yeah. He may be a little rough around the edges on the site, but there's a lot of good reason for it. But he is a
So-
wonderful person.
Jim, I think we talked about this. This is the alternative to PyStar. And this guy's like, install it. Don't ask me any questions. Read that again. Don't ask me any questions. If you're thinking about asking me any questions, just F off or something like that.
I think I played with that for a while.
Yeah.
And I was afraid to talk to him. Yes,
So-
that's it. The PyStar dashboard. Yep, I remember that.
You shouldn't have to worry about talking to Chip. He's, like I said, he's actually a really nice guy. But there is a community built around this dashboard and his software that are willing to help anybody. So if you got any problems, you can hop into his Discord or hop onto Facebook. There's plenty of people that'll be able to help you.
I may need to go back and revisit that. Steve, we could do a show on that
It's
probably one
definitely
night.
worth
That was the
revisiting.
point. That was definitely the point. So this is w0chp.net. I'm copying and pasting for the folks at home. This is an alternative to PyStar that may be better, probably is better, probably gives you just as much support as PyStar does, which is, just us helping you guys out.
So now let me ask the question, because I'm pretty sure I've installed that, but that's just a dashboard. That's not a binary change, is it? Or
There
was there
are binary changes.
there are binary changes in there
full
too?
disk download is what I'm doing.
Okay.
There are binary changes. Basically, when PyStar stopped at 4.1.6, those are all old versions of things like MMDVM host and all the gateway
Right.
programs and everything. Jonathan G4KLX has been updating all that stuff on a regular basis, and he's actually added more stuff. There's a whole lot of new features that we're looking at having him implement, such as MQTT and other things that would be really back end stuff. But Jonathan kept updating. Unfortunately, Andy hasn't taken any of the new binaries or compiled any new binaries for PyStar. This is where Chip stepped in and said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and redesign the dashboard and make it look nice and update all the
Okay.
binaries, all the software. So there are actual improvements on this. It's still PyStar in the fact that it's a fork of PyStar, but it's updated. Everything is updated.
Updated binaries. Okay.
Yes.
I guess I'm going to have to mess with that again, because I cannot. My PyStar is not doing the deed, even though M17 is enabled. And this
Yeah,
is
you'll need the,
4.16 with a dashboard of 22.11.14.
So does this Pi 4 need anything on it? Do I need to get an MMDVM hat out somewhere?
Yes.
I need to go find that.
Yes, Steve. Why would you? Of course, you need an MMDVM hat.
Jim,
I
is this
am
why you're the
asking him
brains of
leading
the show?
questions.
Y'all want to see what it looks like?
Yes, that
What
would be
looks like-
awesome. while Steve is finding his hat.
Found it.
Okay.
Let me see.
You should be able to share, other Steve.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm not leaking
Cool,
any personal
Steve.
info.
Hey,
Select
Heard
window or screen. This one.
His audio worked, I'm just saying. Well, eventually. He did have video issues up
he
front.
had, yeah. And who else had video and audio issues, Jim?
Shut up, you big dummy head.
I didn't have issues. I just was running late. So,
yeah,
this
that's
is-
the
this
one.
is,
I think that's the one I had. Yep.
Yep. This is the repeater that's actually in the outside in another shed, running. But it's basically running a MMDVM repeater builder version 4 and over USB. And yeah, you get all the call sign information and everything from people that are talking on the M17 Charlie reflector and module. You still get the click into QRZ, and you can see Ed's QRZ page there. But yeah, I mean, this is what it looks like. You can add or remove the caller details. So you see Ed's name went away. Caller details, then I'll show you the last person that talked. This is a neat little feature that Chip added recently, was hide chunks. So if you're listening to something like America Link or any of the TAC groups, you hear people just chunking all the time, either coming into the talk group or leaving the talk group. You can actually hide that now with this hide chunks button.
Oh, that's sweet. So that'd clear all the garbage off the dashboard.
Right. So you hit that, and now you can choose how long you want it. So like, anything that's less than 1 second will not show. And as I increase it, you'll see that they continue to disappear. And I can bring it down to half a second. So yeah, basically you see less noise and more of the actual people talking. I just thought that was one of the most awesome features that I had seen put in recently. And you probably also saw Ed keying up on the repeater. I don't know if you heard it, but excuse me. As people talk, yeah. See, I can actually turn that. That's M17 data coming over my FTM 6000.
Nice.
Yeah, so it works just like a regular Pi-Star. It's just that it looks a whole lot better and has updates and is. Actually, it did update recently because I don't have the little flag that says update available.
So I got a couple questions for you guys. See, that's my Yankee talk. I don't talk that way anymore because I'm down here.
Use guys.
Yes, you guys.
You guys.
Now I say, so y'all, we got a couple questions. Glenn is asking how many M17 reflectors are there off the top of your head, if you know. And I have a related question about M17 reflectors.
That's
Okay. 100, 50 to 100, it looks like. I mean, Glenn, only the cool kids are going to be running an M17 reflector, so there shouldn't be.
Oh, actually, you know what? I can do.
Well, I mean, we don't. That's fine, Steve. That was. I mean, just.
There was a count somewhere. I just forgot where I put it.
I'm not judging, man. So more than 10 and less than 1,000.
I think
Enough
it was
that you
around
should-
153 the last time that I logged into the admin side of this.
Okay. Well, that's not bad at all. So my question to you is, we have our group Toads, the Discord channel that Steve runs and we all help with, has our own digital host. So we're running a DStar /DMR /YSF reflector host setup, multi-mode setup. I'd get it in a minute. English hard me. And what would it take to put an M17 reflector on there and integrate that in? We're using the, oh man, I cannot remember the name of that software. It's a daemon that runs multiple modes at one time.
XLX?
Yes, thank you. XLXD.
So the interesting part about XLX, or the interesting part about MRefD, which is the M17 reflector daemon, that's actually a fork of XLX.
Okay.
It's just that it's designed to work for M17. And in order to install it, if you know how to compile a program, you can get it.
Oh, yeah.
Resources are minimal. I actually, the main reflector, the M17 reflector, that runs on a 2-core. No, is it 2-core? Yeah, I think it's 2-core. 2-core ARM server that's hosted by Oracle for free.
Nice.
So I'm running a reflector that gets a lot of use on a free instance at Oracle. So you don't need a whole lot of resources.
Yeah, we're running ours. I can't remember what I have. It's on DigitalOcean, and I think it runs about $6 a month.
Yeah, Dio is actually really good. They got really good prices, and Volter is another popular one.
Well, so with XLXD, we have the YSF, DMR, and DStar reflectors. So would MREF completely replace XLXD for me? This is going way beyond the scope of our program, but I'm just curious.
No, the replacement, I say replacement with quotes, for XLXD would be URFD, which is the Universal Reflector Daemon. That's also developed by Tom, N7TAE. He's the one that developed MREFD. So he also has another project called URFD, which is the Universal Reflector Daemon. And that one is kind of like the universal one that runs all of the modes. But MRFD is completely separate. XLX, I don't think Luke will ever put M17 into XLX.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So, that's
support
that's
out of
why
that is kind of weird.
URFD is the thing. So,
well, so the problem, and I think somebody, and I can't remember who, there's Luke's version of XLXD, which is what we're running, because there was a newer version of XLXD that was supposed to be better, faster, stronger.
New
I don't remember.
XLXD.
Yeah, but it didn't support.
That's also Tom N7TAE.
It didn't support the DStar transcode stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is why we're not using it, and I'm using XLXD at the time.
The problem is because you need one of these.
I got two of those.
I got a dozen. You want one?
Well, no, I mean,
Sure.
so what we're doing is Dio is running everything except the Ambed decode.
Yeah.
And I'm handing the Ambed decode to the Pi out in my shop.
Yeah. That's a very popular way of running it. Yep. Actually, the one kind of a side topic. I was actually asking the data center that my company does all the hosting at. I was asking them if they would host a Raspberry Pi for me, just so they could have a transcoding server running in a data center, but they wouldn't.
So I work for a fairly small company, and I'm the InfoSec guy, the physical security guy, which is kind of a joke. I carry the box whenever they fire anybody, and network, VoIP, anything network. I do all that too, and that's my background is networky stuff mostly.
Mine too. Yep.
And more than once, I have pontificated that I could easily put a Raspberry, and I'm the InfoSec guy. I could easily put a Raspberry Pi up on top of one of the racks in the server room and wire it in, and no one would ever be the wiser. Because our IT department don't network. So
yeah, that was actually one of the attack vectors when I red teamed my company.
Which is why I don't do that. But
yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, so we have.
I will only use my power for good.
we spent a bit of money on network access control, so
yeah,
that won't happen anymore.
I used to do a lot of red team when I worked for the government. I red teamed for NASA against NASA, which was entertaining. Bro, you may be a rocket scientist, but really, someone needs to take your Linux disk away. And then the government, Army against the Army and Air Force and various other agencies. I love doing red team stuff. That was a blast.
Yeah, I like the physical side of it. Trying to actually gain access to a room that I'm not supposed to have access to.
So you watch Deviant, I'm sure, on YouTube all the time.
All the time.
Yeah,
right.
It's surprising how easy it is to do that.
He is the prophet of being where you shouldn't be.
So I actually have a daily wear outfit. Like if you see me in public, I look like I should be somebody that's working on something, because I got Dickies on, and
Oh, you got your service uniform.
I got
your service guy.
exactly. There's no name, there's no company badge or anything like that. I'm just plain clothes, and I carry a clipboard. The clipboard is key.
All done flashing.
Oh, sweet. Well,
Yeah,
see what happens.
I've watched deviant stuff on elevators. I was in the fire department. Ed and I were talking before you got here. I was fire department for 27 years, and we have 3 or 4 hotels in our service area here. So when they built those, everybody was like, well, how do we work elevators? And I had to get somebody from Montgomery Fire to come in and show us. And thankfully, they're all the same type, and it was fairly easy and straightforward because we had to do a couple elevator calls.
I was looking for my elevator key set. It's around here someplace.
I did not keep one, and I should have because we had like 5 of them, and those knuckleheads will probably lose it anyway since I've
definitely
left.
kept the set.
I know all the elevators in our service area were drop keys, which I could make one of those.
Yeah,
easy
we have
enough.
like 3 different type of drop keys in New York City that they use.
I'm not surprised. This is
They're talking about
Lala. This
Deviant
is a
on
lot
YouTube.
smaller.
And he shows you how to do all this stuff and where to get these keys from.
Yeah, I also have an FEOK1 key I got off of eBay.
CH341 key and the P25 key.
And
P51.
I 3D printed an FEOK1. I haven't been able to get around to testing it.
What is the FEOK1 key for? Is that the panel boxes or?
That's the CH371 key.
I can't remember now because I did it. I bought the thing off of eBay. I was like, oh, it's my elevator key. I think it's elevators, and I think it's the fire service key is what it is.
So yeah,
I'm
I
almost
think
positive.
that's probably a regional key as well, because we have large Medco keys for our fire service key.
Yeah, the ones down here, they're similar looking to a soda machine, or if you say pop, a pop machine.
Pop. What's pop?
Okay.
Oh,
in Chicago, it's pop. In Alabama, everything is a Coke with different flavors. And in Southern Illinois, it's soda. So I'm conflicted as hell because I was born in Southern Illinois. And
well, it's the hero sub grinder debate as well.
Yes, it is. Exactly.
We're leaving the policeman behind.
Well, I mean, we have a policeman. We have police represented on this stream tonight. And
the
fire.
OK ones are the fire service.
Yeah, that's right. I thought it was. I can't imagine why else I would have bought it.
So is that the double-sided key, Jim?
No, it's a round. It's hell. It may be in the desk drawer. It's round with a tab on it.
Oh, okay. It's the
cylinder key.
And you can get the decoders for that on Amazon, so you don't even need the key.
Yeah.
I am trying to eject the SD card from Windows, so I'm just waiting on Windows right now.
This is our Windows bashing show.
Oh, no, that's every show.
Yeah, I have a very old Mac Pro that I've been using for a long time, and I have
Is
a
that
nice.
it behind you?
It's covered up on the green screen. Yes, that's it.
It is actually literally behind him. I just went rogue and unplugged it. We'll see if that works or not.
And I've forced myself to use my Windows machine full time now because that thing is that's a 2012 Mac Pro. It's ancient, and it's not. It's just Windows. You get used to how Mac works, and then you have to get on Windows and do all the stuff you've been doing on Mac, and it's like okay. It's been exciting. Every time we do a live stream, it's always something
Something's
new.
wrong.
Yes. Tonight it was Steve, which just made me feel so much better. Ed, you do not know how happy I was when I heard you talking. And I went, okay, it's not me. I haven't got the wrong dang button pushed on the mixer. It's Steve.
Well, this time it was Chrome. I just refreshed the browser page and it worked for me.
Yeah.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Right. That machine is booting up now. Is it gonna? I have to do the whole IP scan thing and find it, and
yes.
Or no, I have to switch my Wi-Fi network, don't I?
Did you not do
Only if you have it on Wi-Fi.
Did you not do the conf app like I've told you to do?
I tried to do that.
I don't like doing that.
But Windows got stuck.
So the PyStar has auto AP, so you'll see PyStar set up as an access point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it.
So if you got like a separate, there you go, that'll work.
I just do the WPA supplicant file so I don't have to screw with the auto setup.
I do that too.
And we did a live stream on that before, so we know how to do it.
Yeah.
So Liberty's got a question, and I don't know if this is exactly what he means, so I'm going to take a little liberty with his question. See what I did there, Rick?
I see.
He's asking if there's any way to run this on a Linux desktop or laptop. You've got to have the right hardware, and with that Zoom Spot stick, that will work, right?
So run what in particular?
Well, run the Pi-Star. He wants to do M17 on his Linux laptop or desktop.
Right now,
What hardware?
Pi-Star is just for ARM processors. So if your Debian, Ubuntu, whatever is an ARM processor, like a Pi, then yeah, you can run that. But there is no x86 version of Pi-Star. You can run all of this stuff.
VM?
You can actually run all of this. You can compile it all yourself on an x86 machine if you wanted to. But there's nothing pre-compiled right now for running a full Pi-Star setup on a regular desktop or laptop that you would normally see, like an Intel or an AMD processor in.
Right.
You know, the only preconceived and pre-built version is for an ARM processor, such as a Raspberry Pi.
So, Steve, KC1AWV, can we run DroidStar directly onto a Linux machine?
DroidStar has, yes, you could run DroidStar, you compile it and run it on a Linux machine. You could run it on an x86 machine, yes.
You could run it in a VM too. You should be able to do that with Oracle's VM tool.
But now you're getting into the hardware.
As an Android VM.
How are you going to plug in, you know, that USB stick and pass through USB?
Oh, it works.
I know, but I'm also coming from a day and an age where VDI back in 2008, you know, the USB audio never really worked.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean,
and that's my experience since then. So
well, yeah, and I feel your pain because I was there. I've got a Mac at work. I have a 2013 garbage can at work because then our IT department doesn't touch it, which is a plus. And I run Parallels on it and on my own Mac Pro back here. Mm-hmm. And they've come a long way. Parallels on a Mac is solid because I've used it to do radio programming and share webcams and whatever gadget dingus you want to plug in. So it's working really well. I'd be surprised if it didn't work, but I've never tested it.
So there's another way that I didn't mention earlier about getting onto M17 over IP, and that's on a Raspberry Pi using a headset. You can use a program called mVoice, which is designed by Tom N7TAE that we were talking about earlier with the XLX and URFD reflector.
Nice. It just showed up right as I went over to reboot the machine.
Ted's talking about the MD380, which is a one of those cheapo $99 DMR radios. We have a side project that we work with called OpenRTX, and those guys are writing custom firmware for the MD380 and a few of the other radios. There is, excuse me, there is a hardware modification available for the MD380. Once that's done, you can update the firmware and it will run M17. The thing is, it's not a modification for the faint of heart. There's a lot of SMD chips that you have to remove and add, and it's not a complete project right now. So once you do have it work in the audio portion of it, still a little wonky.
Okay. What about OpenGD77? That was another question.
I don't think that is. Somebody was talking about that in one of the Discords the other day. I don't think the OpenGD77 project would be compatible with M17, at least at the current moment.
Because they have, they do. I've got a Baofeng 1801, which is about as budget of a DMR radio as you can find, and their firmware really made it not suck completely. So that would be an interesting thing, is to get M17 into that project too. That would be cool, because that runs on 4 or 5 different radios. The Baofeng 1801, the GD77, obviously, and I want to say it's also on the 380. I can't remember.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have to kind of work around, and the reason that you need a hardware modification for M17 to run on one of those 380s, is that the audio path doesn't go into the MCU in order for it to be encoded into DMR for the DMR. It actually goes to a separate chip altogether. There's a separate DMR chip on the radio that's doing all the encoding and decoding of DMR through the RF path, right? So because that's what is going on, we actually have to make that modification to the MD380 to get the audio into the MCU in order to be able to create that M17 baseband to then inject into the RF path. So with all these other radios, our experience has been so far that they all have that same DMR chip that's taken the audio in direct from the microphone, and there's no path for us to actually get that microphone audio into the MCU to actually create that M17 baseband.
Okay.
Once we find a radio that can do that, then we might have a
platform to go for.
Yeah, an easier platform for people to just play around with it.
Steve, do you know the default IP address of this thing?
192.168.50.1.
And then Jim, going back, that's another whole side of like the new ham radio is firmware modifications. And I mean, like I said, I mentioned OpenRTX before. It's a group of guys over in Italy, and they're doing really great work. There are a bunch of radios that they've been playing around with. They were looking to doing some stuff with the Yaesu radios, which is probably something that's going to be a couple of years away. But there are definitely a whole new breed of ham radio hackers. It's a whole different version of ham brewing.
Oh yeah,
not your grandfather's ham radio anymore.
Oh yeah, and I've been in IT professionally all my life. The fire gig was just my unpaid side hustle. But I love this aspect of ham radio.
You ran into burning buildings for free.
Yes, I did.
You big dummy, you.
Yes, I am. But and I've also a paramedic. My license actually expires in a couple weeks. But 80% of, and I'm sure you guys up there, FDNY is probably the same. 80% of our calls are medicals. So we ran fire and EMS just like they do, or Montgomery Fire is the same way. 80% of our calls are medical. I love being a paramedic because you get some great stories out of that.
Yeah, we definitely had some stories backing up FD on the
sure
medical runs, and especially the psych patients. Those were really fun.
And some people who should have been psych patients. After the stream, I can share you a true story of the volunteer fire department that you will just... Yeah. You probably saw just as much weird crap as I did working in New York. So,
Steve, this thing is not showing me my local Wi-Fi.
Interface is inactive. Why is that?
Right. The one that I'm currently using is inactive.
Did you do this on a 3 or a 4?
This is a 4.
Okay, so it does have Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah. I'm using it.
Oh, that's right. What happens when you click on configure Wi-Fi?
It just sits there.
Can you hit it again? Because it looks like it's just highlighted.
I can hit it as many times as you want me to.
Maybe this is a bug for mobile.
I mean, this is technically just a web browser.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've never set one of these up using a mobile phone.
Right? These boys make fun of me because I do all my Discording on the computer. It's like, well, I want to be able to type and see.
I do Discord on the computer all the time.
I don't make fun of you.
Well, there's some people in our friend group that should be doing
network.
Discord on their computer. Because I know he can't see the dang screen.
Talking about Ape.
Yeah, or Charles. Either one of them.
This
They
is
need their
this is
spying glasses on.
Richard's asking how old is the phone. This is a Galaxy S8, so what, 5 years now?
Oh, wow. No, that's older than that. I got the old lady in S22 last year.
They don't run in chronological order.
Okay. Well, then I
This
have
is
no
my
idea.
Android device. It's bigger than my head.
I don't know about that.
That's a phablet.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big head, too. I'm just saying.
It's a shiny ass.
Yeah, it is. I'm taking my lessons from Ed.
Shave it all. Shave it all.
Now, one of the guys asked in chat, and I think I know the answer, but he asked, would M17, where is that at? Was asking about cross-moding. And the answer to that is M17 doesn't do the cross-mode. The software and hardware, mostly the software that M17 is running on, would have to be able to do the cross-mode or the radio.
Yes, but
like Pi-Star will do with DMR and Fusion and DMR and NXDN V25.
The reason that you can do those is because you're not changing the vocoder.
Right,
They're
the vocoders are the same.
MB2 plus. Anyway,
MB2.
all you're doing is changing the TLV data and repackaging it and sending it out as the other mode. But because M17 uses a completely different vocoder altogether, you need one of these.
Okay.
To get basically to a common in order to get to a common audio codec, you need to decode it out of Ambi. So you need an Ambi chip in order to.
You need an Ambi chip.
Yeah.
So would those Northwest Digital thumb DVs work?
Yes, you can decode the Ambi into something like USERP, and then encode it into M17.
Okay.
That's how the M17 and DMR cross mode works. Is that it's actually using the codec 2 compiled into its software, and also a vocoder, based off of this.
A hardware vocoder.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a M17 to All-Star USRP bridge as well, right, Steve? That's another possibility.
I got to get my All-Star going.
And that's a whole nother can of worms, but it's probably the easiest way to get some sort of transcoding going, because transcoding from PCM audio into codec 2 is super easy. I mean, you do it just by running a radio and doing it through that DroidStar app. That's taking PCM audio and putting it into codec 2. But it also works the other way. So you can take codec 2 and put it into PCM audio and then inject it into All-Star. My All-Star node actually runs on the M17 Reflector all the time. I can dial into it from my desk phone and talk M17 if I wanted to.
Oh, you are showing off.
I could also call using my phone.
That's great.
I could call a PBX with my cell phone, wherever I am in the world, and get onto the M17 Charlie Reflector and talk to whoever I want. Well, whoever's on the air, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I
dial a special telephone number and have a whole lot of fun with that.
This thing is not playing nice.
Yeah, Steve, I swear it's got to be because it's a mobile browser, because it looks like it's just highlighting the button and it's not actually doing anything.
Well, so it got far enough to show me what the Wi-Fi signals were in my area, and then I picked one, and then I told it to save and reconnect, and it didn't. So
can you wire that in at all?
Not really.
No,
because the router's all the way in the other room.
Mine's right next to me. I always keep a switch next to me.
Yeah, Steve's just not fancy. He's up in the frozen tundra of Wisconsin. He has to have minimum power requirements so he doesn't freeze to death.
But his cheese game is on point, I hear.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up a thing of cheese this afternoon when I went to the grocery store.
What kind of cheese did you get?
I got Skellig. Kerrygold Skellig cheddar.
Nice.
It's really good.
Sounds a little fancy. Steve's a fancy cheese person.
It does. He was Kerrygold,
Crepes.
right? That's the
Crepes.
fancy
Yeah.
butter. So yeah.
Irish
It's
cheese,
the
yeah.
Irish cheese, yeah.
Okay, so now we've changed browsers. Configure Wi-Fi.
Hey!
That button did something.
So we got to
But
just
it's running
wait until-
slow for some reason.
You said this phone's how old?
It's an S8, but that's not why this is slow because it's the
There you go.
save and connect.
And this is why I do the WPA supplicant file. Because I hate this mess. It never wants
Okay,
to
fair
work right
enough.
for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I did try that, Jim, once again, just in case you didn't hear me the last time I said that, but
Guys,
Windows got in the
there's
way.
no need to be snippy over here.
I mean,
Oh, no,
if he
that
knew
was
how to,
what we did.
if he knew how to run a computer, it wouldn't be a problem. It's already had audio. It's like playing cards with my brother's kids, man.
What are you saying about your brother's kids?
They're aggravating.
Who were we on with where they were having just really
Christ almighty,
crazy?
it's like I'm sitting here playing cards with my brother's kids or something. You nerve-wracking sons of bitches.
Who were we doing a show with that was having the same sort of problems? There was another person that we interviewed
What,
with.
arguing?
Yeah. No. Just having, audio cut out and all that other
No.
stuff. Might have been Jason. I'll throw him under the bus.
Jason 2.0.
Yeah.
Try
Jason
that
2.0.
again. So there are now 2 other live streams going on at the same time. Communications and Cigars is on at this time, and Kyle is on with Learning CW.
Anybody want to go learn CW?
Why we get
Kyle is pretty sharp.
We're here.
I really want to
just-
eventually.
I'm just being friendly.
Oh yeah, I do too, Steve. Absolutely do. But
I was.
I bought the Morcerino so I could learn CW. I bought a J38 key so I could learn old school because I don't want to mess with all that fancy clicky thing. And they're both sitting there covered in
That's
dust.
a technical term, boys and girls.
clicky thing.
Right. I don't want to mess with your iambic dinguses. I just want a button. And I screwed with it for about 3 or 4 days, and I'm like, I got to come back to this, and I don't have the time.
So here's the M17 screen on the M5
Hey.
stack.
Oh, let me embiggen you there, Ed. Hang on.
Make me bigger, Jim.
There you go. Boom. It's all you, buddy.
That's it. It's M17 running on the M5 Core 2. So with a little microphone setup.
Oh, that's interesting. You got another call sign on there.
I guess
The
it's
VK
somebody else
station.
that's connected to Charlie, perhaps.
Yeah, let me take a look.
So now for your reflectors, what do you guys use? Just numbers?
So it can be anything that can be base 40 encoded according to our call sign encoding instructions. So it
Okay.
is 26 letters, all capitals, all 10 digits, and a dot, a space, and a slash.
So similar to the way Fusion does theirs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Because they have some kind of, I think that's almost the same algorithm. It seems close. I've never seen Steve not talk this much. He's really in.
I have connected to another hotspot via desktop browser, and I'm doing it on the machine that's over there that I can't share out because it's on the other network. And it's running
many
just
networks?
as slow.
Really?
Oh, Jason, don't speculate on communications and cigars. It's not a good plan. Although
You can
I see what
speculate
did there.
here about that there.
Yeah,
I like
You just can't speculate there about that there.
I like his little photo, the little Cyberman. I like that.
yeah.
Yes.
He's obviously a Doctor Who guy.
It's
Come on, Steve.
Chrome is looking up fonts.google.com, which it's not going to find because it's not
Right.
connected to the internet over there.
Right. See, that should be on the device itself.
Right.
All right. I'll let Chip know that. Which HTs work with M17?
Obviously, he was not here for that part of the show. Hey, MI7 DJT.
So there are modified MD380s that can work M17, but there is no commercial off-the-shelf radio that does M17 yet. We are working on a project called OpenHT. Well, I say we, and I mean the team. It's actually Wojciech and Morgan and Matt and a few other folks that are working on this open handheld. That's going to be a purely open source FPGA based HT that can do just about any mode that you can think of. They've got AM working, they've got FM working. I think they got SSB working.
Yeah, I think he's just starting to play with SSB now.
Yeah,
with it.
16 QAM. It'll obviously do M17 when they're finished with it, and
That would be swank.
Right,
You know,
Scott.
free DV,
Right.
Free DV. They got free DV working on it. Or
Steve, that
they-
could be a unicorn, son, because what you're describing is getting perilously close to a unicorn.
It's getting perilously close to other implementations that I've seen before, or at least ideas that I've seen before, such as Connect Systems. Jerry wanted to create an all mode, radio.
Right.
I don't know how far he's gotten with that, but I remember hearing about it when I got licensed. So that tells you, how long it's been.
Is that the one? I think Gigapart sells one.
Gigapart sells the CS radios. I think they're the regular DMR radios.
Oh no, it says I've never bought one because I assumed it was a
says it's
Pi in a
multi-mode.
case. Yeah, it's all three of the big three modes, and I assumed it was just a Pi with the sound interface wired up.
It very well could be.
That's why I say that's the unicorn, because we have viewers on various streams ask us all the time, when are they going to make a radio that does all these?
So there's a
Never, they
question
don't play
earlier.
nicely together.
There was a question earlier about were any of the manufacturers interested in adding M17 to the radios, and a couple of the Chinese manufacturers are.
That would be my guess.
But-
Yeah.
But
But
Oh,
they
here
kind
we
of
go.
want us to do all the work and just send them everything we have, and just hand it over to them, and they'll
So
try
they
and
can sell the
implement it.
radio. Yeah.
Right.
it's definitely a profit maker for them. They just don't want to have to do the work. And one of the other things that we've noticed is that these manufacturers, these Chinese manufacturers that are out there, they're not making the radios. They're just buying basically a COTS
Right.
radio and putting their name on it. So
Yeah.
Retevis, you notice that the RT3 is just an MD380 with the Retevis name on it.
Yeah. Well,
And
they
you'll
all
notice
all
that
do that.
the-
Anytone does that.
The Anytone DMR radio looks very similar to the Baofeng DMR radio. So
Yep.
it's they're all reselling it under their own name. Yeah.
This
yeah,
Anytone?
There you go. Yep.
This Anytone, well, you can't see because I don't have enough light up there, but yeah, the Baofeng Tech 6X2 is the Anytone 878, I think.
Yeah. If not very similar.
Yeah. Well,
I
they're
mean, they polish it up and put another name on it. So
yeah. And then a lot of the I guess Retevis and Radioddity radios are the same box with different color around the same guts.
What's the other one? Sane Smart.
Sane Smart.
Yeah, they're another one. But a lot of the radios that we've seen, since they're so similar, once somebody does come up with putting M17 into one of these radios, it's going to be just like that for everybody else to pick it up. It's hardware modification with existing radios. So things like, we ask for a schematic. Well, we don't have the schematic. Well, how do you expect us to do anything for you if you don't even have the information that we need? So it's kind of a catch-22 with some of these manufacturers. I remember when we were down in Hamcation, Ray Novak stopped by our table, And he says, so what's this M17 thing? And I'm going on about it, you know, and I said, well, have you ever heard of this thing called DStar? And I think he got a little upset with me when I said that.
That's the wrong guy you wanted to piss off.
Yeah. But he basically said that if we can put M17 into a chip, then ICOM would probably look at, you know, putting M17 into one of their radios.
Oh, y'all would sound like a. Oh my God! Take my money.
So
Yeah,
Take my
that's what I'm
money.
saying.
one of the other projects that's floating around there too, Pablo, I can't think of what's his Paulo down in Brazil.
for THZ.
So he's working on M17 tools, which is is it Windows only or is it Windows Linux?
It's whatever you can compile it on.
So it's a toolbox for M17 on the computer, and he has it interfaced to a DigiRig right now. You can interface one of your DigiRigs to an FTM 6000, and right now it just transmits working.
Transmit's working.
Just transmit of
he's-
M17 is working over the DigiRig as the sound card into the FTM 6000. So again, like I said, it's a global community of people that are doing their own implementations of it, and it's really an amazing thing.
So, and I don't know if we kind of covered this. What makes M17 better than DMR DStar Fusion?
It was built for hams.
Well, I know, but I mean,
it's open source.
that's a good one.
Yeah, it's open source, so you can take it and you can make it your own. At one point, Steve was running APRS over M17.
I think somebody asked that earlier in the chat. I meant to ask you guys that.
Mhm.
Okay.
So that was back with Rob WX90
From MobiLink.
From MobiLink. He was taking his Nucleo TNC, the homebrew version of the TNC3. He was putting M17 on it, and I was testing that out. I put one on the radio here at the house. I put the other one on the radio in my car. I run XAPRS, and I was able to do APRS over M17 data. So
Sweet.
That was really cool. There's a project that Mike W2FBI just made me aware of. It's called MPMM, and it's message something. Basically, it's
really
a
good, Steve.
yeah, I know. It's gonna be a Python based software that does store and forward of messaging. So things like WinLink or BBS stuff. It'll be store and forward, and
Okay.
I
That's
want
cool.
to get a KISS TNC, such as the TNC4, to work with that and be able to do this store and forward messaging system over the TNC4 and M17 data. So
Now, have you seen that AIOC board? We did a show on that 3-4 weeks ago.
now I have to look it up.
So yep,
That's his
This thing right here, Steve.
What's his call sign? I cannot freaking remember
that's
it.
interesting.
I have one coming in the mail tomorrow, minus the plugs.
He didn't put his call sign on it. He put his name on it, Simon.
Oh,
Which is not gonna
Compers.
focus on.
Well, I can't.
Yeah,
It's on GitHub, and I can't remember right now.
we did a
Yeah.
Nuggets episode on it.
Yeah.
Ham radio all in one cable.
Yep.
Yep.
Because I don't think that it was the Anglo-Persian oil company.
You never know, Steve. Don't assume anything.
Yeah,
So
it
this
was, and we've got a group buy we're trying to get going. I'm waiting on parts to get to JLC PCB for our group buy.
Mhm.
This is like watching stone erode,
Welcome to the great parts shortage.
right? I know,
Yeah.
man. Hell, I can't get rye bread half the time when she buys groceries. Drives me nuts.
Is that
It's
a thing?
not because there isn't any rye bread. It's because she don't like you that much.
Well, that may be. I think Walmart hates me. I don't know. She buys the groceries at Walmart because they're so much cheaper. I'm like, go to a real grocery store.
I just
She
got
asked for
some
rye
marble
bread, and
rye
Walmart
Sunday.
Walmart gave her whole wheat. I'm like, baby, these are not the things that are the same.
No, you're getting your rye bread with or without caraway seeds.
With, if I can, I really like caraway seeds.
I prefer the marble rye without caraway seeds.
I ain't never met a
That's
rye
what I
bread I
have
didn't
now.
like. Marble's great.
Yeah.
This is not really rye bread country down here. They have it, but they only have like the national brands like Arnold's or Pepperidge Farm down here.
So,
I want beefsteak. I need
so
beefsteak.
should I bring you out a loaf or two of rye bread?
That would be awesome.
In
And you
Ohio?
get the real rye bread too.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm trying to get the Smoking Ape to. He says where he lives in Nebraska, there's beefsteak rye. I'm like, bro, send me some. I don't think he thought I was serious.
Hit me up before Dayton and remind me. I'll bring you out some rye bread.
Oh, will do. I'll bring Kaneka sausage.
I'm not
Which
really
is-
sure what that is, but I like it already.
Oh, it's freaking awesome. It's a, you know what andouille sausage is?
Sure.
It's in the
right,
ballpark
boys.
of andouille.
Wait, Steve, we're not ready now. We're talking about sausage, dude.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We got tired of you and your machinations back there. We moved on, son.
Fixed it. I fixed it, son.
I am proud of you.
We're back. So what I had
Right.
to do, Jim, hold on. Watch the look on his face. What I had to do was I had to SSH into the machine, and I had to go into the Etsy WPA supplicant directory, and I had to add the network directly to the WPA supplicant file and reboot because the web interface did not work.
Which is why I do the WPA supplicant file to begin with.
I just like saying supplicant.
I just wanted to see him gloat.
And
Y'all-
I don't know
y'all
what
saw
problem you had on Windows. I made the file, which I mean I've done it so many times I can make it by hand now. But
No,
they've got
What I did was I put the SD card in, and it would not see the SD card, and then it would not eject the damn thing.
Well, I mean, it makes part of it will not show up because it's not
Which
formatted right, but the boot partition should.
Yes, it should. And I'm currently proving here with this screen share that the SD card was fine. It was fracking Windows. Anyway, username pi-star.
Whatever you say, buddy.
Well, is this not proof, my friend?
That's I feel your pain every time we do a show. Something new decides it doesn't want to work.
Here it is. It's working.
Sweet.
So now that we've gone nowhere fast,
Ed's got to take a break. Jim was thinking I really need something to drink, and I wouldn't mind a smoke either.
I want to know what's on that wall of glory that Ed's got going on.
Those are I think those are his patches. Yeah, those are his patches that he's collected.
That
Oh
is
wow!
awesome.
Yep. So if you've got a patch that you want to trade with him and you see him in person, he usually carries one with him.
Ooh, I may still have some fire department patches laying around.
Jason, we're all on the same team here. We're all on the same team here.
I see Ed also is the 3D printing aficionado.
Yeah, he's got that Prusa printer. Yeah, I got one too. That's a that right there is a Creality Ender 5 Plus that I've gutted and redesigned and everything. So it's not even an Ender 5 Plus anymore.
I've got 4 of them. 3 of them actually work, and one of them is in the shop to get. I got an Ender 2 V3, Ender 3 V2, 3 V2.
Yep.
I'm changing to direct drive eventually. The project is in progress on the dining table because we never use the dining table to eat on. So
Yep. That one's running ExoSlide.
I bought the Creality Sonic Pad for the V2, which will upgrade the firmware and run Clipper, and I can get rid of that ganky LCD screen that comes with the 3V2 and run that thing Clipper, and then I'm changing it over, like I said, to direct drive. I've got dual lead screws on it.
Yep.
So I can print TPU. I don't know why, but I now suddenly have this burning desire to print TPU.
My brother got into printing TPU, so I bought a Creality 6 SE, the special edition one that does the homing and the bed leveling using a load sensor instead of like BL Touch or anything. So it's got a load sensor in it. So I was like, this machine's too small for me. So I gave it to my brother. He prints TPU on that thing all day long. It's really amazing.
I have an FL Sun Super Racer, which is great when it doesn't
squirrels.
And then I have a longer 3D LK1 Pro, which I bought because it's a bed slinger like a 3V2, but it's a big bed slinger.
Yeah.
Like 300 by 300 by 400, something like that.
Yeah, those are nice machines.
And that is kind of a budget printer, but man, that thing is just it never needs tweaking. It just freaking prints every stinking time.
Yep.
Not the fastest thing in the world compared to the Super Racer, but
Thank God Ed's back. We can get this show back on the rails.
and I've got one of
I
those.
could talk 3D printers all day long.
Well, that's what got us started. We were perusing all the items in the background there, and then the Pat's
does not
collection
do the
came up,
thing
and
yet.
the 3D printer came up, and
These boys are talking 3D printers, and Ed, you're on mute.
Yeah, I
There you
have
go.
some patches back there, a couple 3D printers.
Okay, so this URL here, this is the URL of the Pi-Star. I need to change this.
No, that is a URL that you want to set as whatever you want. You could set it to your own
Using
website,
QRZ.
your QRZ.
Okay, so
you
nothing special. Okay.
No, it's not a functional thing.
Okay, and then anything else I need to change on this configure page?
No, really, it's just putting in your call sign and checking your frequency to make sure that that seems reasonable, which it does.
This is the same one that's on the
Yep,
spot.
perfect. So just click on apply changes for now.
But I haven't specified the modem or anything.
It'll bring you back.
Click apply changes, and it's doing the spinny thing up here at the top.
Yeah, because it's doing a lot of stuff in the background. It's shutting down all the services, putting in your information, and then it will spin back up, and you'll have a modal that'll pop up that says set your modem type. There you go.
Modem selection. Ta-da!
Yep. So now you can go down and select your radio or modem type.
And this is just an MMDVM.
There you go. You passed it. Go back up. Zoom spot.
So this
Zoom
is on the
spot's
Raspberry Pi. This is not the thing on the phone. This is the thing on the Pi 4 that we just set up.
Oh no, I'm
So
sorry.
this is a
Yeah,
regular
what's on your Pi
MMDVM
4?
hat.
Okay.
It's a regular MMDVM hat. It's just
Yeah, it's probably
this one.
that one. Yep.
And then hit apply changes again,
Yes, sir.
because this is extremely intuitive.
Well, that's
Liberty,
one of the
thank
things that
you.
we were looking at fixing. So
Now we dance for Liberty Cave. And we will play the Windows error mix again.
Eve, you didn't get to dance.
Jim saw there would be dancing and he gave up. Thank you very much, Liberty. I'm going to do all this stuff all by myself now.
I'm here.
No, I mean without Jim. Sorry.
Oh, the moderation stuff.
Yeah, there we go. He wasn't very good at it anyway.
You know, he's firefighter, probably sleeping right now.
Right. Okay, so now the modem is up.
Okay, go back to the main dashboard. We're going to check to see what version of MMDVM is on there. Or even if that it sees it.
All right.
Does not see it. This is one of those instances where you ever see that sketch, Your Company's IT Guy?
Yes.
This is the time where I just want to be like, move, and then take over. So we got to figure out where that modem is.
Maybe I picked the wrong one.
Can you bring it into the view of the camera? We can take a look at it.
I have a short
Short power cable.
Yeah, short power cable connected to it, and it's just this. Doesn't even have any. It's the one with the 2 blocks of GPIO pins and the OLED screen on it.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's not a dual hat.
It's not dual, no.
Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, so you did have the GPIO one selected. So
I did, yeah.
and it's not a dual, and it's not an ambi, not any of these fancy ones.
It's not this one here, which looks like it added one more call sign to the one I already picked.
Well, give it a shot. See what happens. The only other thing I could think of is that the baud rate might be different.
STM something.
STM something.
It's possible.
Something dark side.
Right. Isn't there some command I can run at the command line that tells me this thing?
Yeah, there is an identify script that you can use. Yep. So it's PyStar-find modem.
So we go to admin. Where was it? Advanced tools.
SSH access.
Yeah, all the menus are different. Like I know what I'm looking for. I just got to find it.
Yeah.
I-star. Raspberry. Oh, look at that fancy ASCII art. Looks awesome.
Yes.
Okay, what was the command again?
PyStar-find modem. No dash in PyStar. You need to be root.
That's the way real men administer Unix. We don't fool with sudo, man. We just SU to root and move on.
So it is 115200. It is an DVM HS hat version 1.4.17. Yeah, that's significantly far out of date. But what we can do is while we're still in this, we can update this to 1.6. Do you still have that page open? With the
no.
build instructions?
I do not. Let me find that again.
Ooh, Jim is back.
Whoop. Bio break, refill, and yes, I had to go burn one.
Ah.
No, we have somebody joining us on M17 Charlie.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Okay, where do you want me to be on this MD page?
So what we're going to do is the very first set of instructions, but we're not. So we're going to ignore the fact that it says Zumspot because these instructions will be a guideline. They're not literal. So the command line stuff, the disable services stuff, we don't have to worry about. The boot config, we don't have to worry about because this is all taken care of by PyStar. That's why we're starting with PyStar.
Okay.
So we can actually scroll all the way down to build the firmware. So you're going to do the same thing where you install those libraries and everything. And
right here.
You're going to have to install the stuff up above first. So that, all that, yep.
I got to do the RPi RW thing too.
No.
No?
The latest version of WCHP Dash does not have the
Read write.
read-only. Yeah.
Read only turned on.
Yeah.
But now that also
that off.
kind of lengthens your SD card life too, right? If you keep it read only.
You're logging a lot of the stuff to RAM anyway. You're not actually writing to a file. There's not a whole lot of writes on the SD card as far as PyStar is concerned. Yes, you could probably wear out a card. If you buy a quality card,
Right.
like a SanDisk, it'll be okay.
I hear the judgment. I hear the judgment.
And we've talked about this before. That's one of the things that you'll have a lot of people that say my PyStar quit working. Yes, because your gas station SD card wore out, most likely.
The free Micro Center.
Right?
SD
the one that
card.
came with your 3D printer, that 8 gig one from 2006. Yeah.
Oh, go away. Stop that. Figure out what the paste key was.
Control V.
Paste key?
Control Shift V.
Pasty.
Yes, pasties.
Right.
Hit the any key.
Random Wire's asking if it's going to beat the battery stream from yesterday. Jesus Christ, son, I hope not. I'm going to bed by then. Some of us have to get up and go to our jobs in the morning. Just saying.
What's that?
Hey, we all work. We just work for different bosses.
Some of us work in different time zones.
My wife is retired, and she reminds me of how awesome that is every day. I'm like,
Get out of the
you so
house.
much.
Leave.
Yeah,
Go to work.
pretty much.
Leave me alone.
Pretty much.
I now collect part-time jobs. That's my part of retirement
Nice.
that I'm at.
I envy you. I'm 2 years away, and I'm punching out before I punch somebody out. So that's.
Hey Ed, look what I found.
Hey, so now you have two.
Yeah, now I have two.
Oh, that's that.
Flipper
The
Zero.
The flipper. I was gonna call it the Wiggler. I couldn't remember what it was.
That's a
Wiggler.
different show.
The battery stream was only yesterday. It took us 5
hours?
and
Yeah.
a little bit more because I had to edit the video and prove that the system worked before the stream went live. And the battery did fantastic. We purposely tried to be as inefficient DC-wise as possible, and we were doing FT8 and live streaming and running 2 different laptops at an 100-watt radio station. Took us 5 hours until it started beeping.
Right.
What was the duty cycle like? Oh, you're doing FT8, so it's like
Yeah.
90%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like 15 amps out of the battery, and then 2, and then 15, and then
Yep.
2, and then 15, and then 2.
And then he's running all that stuff. The laptops are going through, their bricks. So he's got an inverter running, sucking up battery power and generating heat and fan noise. And that
What was the size
inverter
of
was
the
not
battery?
that loud on the stream, but
What was that, Steve?
What size was the battery, did you say?
100 amp hour.
Oof. I got one of those in my
It's a beast.
trunk. Yeah.
I was surprised. The Smoke and Ape and I were talking about this after the stream yesterday. Steve didn't have the right setup to measure the straight
You iron
DC
butt,
output
Ed.
of
Thank
the
you.
battery. But, he was running the inverter. And so the inverter is, I thought it was going to last a good bit longer than 5 hours. I was surprised. So his inverter sucked up more than I really thought it was going to.
So I got a gel cell, 100 amp hour gel cell in my trunk that I ran double aught cable from the battery and actually from the alternator into the back of the car. It's in a power pole distribution box that is also running on a West Mountain Radio ISO power.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it runs off the car battery, but it also charges up the SLA. When the
Right.
car turns off, it automatically switches over to the SLA. It's an amazing setup. I really enjoy using it because I can take my car, plug in my 897, and throw a wire up in the air and
Yep,
work wherever
rock and
I
roll.
want.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's awesome.
All right, that is done. Next step.
If I ever put the boat back in the water, I'm planning on replacing the house battery. I've got 2 batteries in the boat. And one of them, of course, is a starter battery for the engine, and then the other one is basically a house battery. And I was going to replace it with a 100 amp hour LifePo for running the sonar and the radio and all that garbage in the boat when I'm parked.
I should buy a boat.
That's
Oh.
what you need. Go right
No.
next to your motorcycle.
Don't I will tell you, as an owner of a boat, Jesus God, the best day you have is when you buy the boat. People say this before you buy a boat, and you're like, that's funny. And then you buy a boat, and then you're looking forward to the day I can sell this damn thing. And
I was thinking more of like a kayak,
well,
something
That's-
like that.
that's probably a good plan.
So while we're still waiting for this, I want to plug our weekly net. We meet on Friday afternoon, 1700 hours UTC, on the M17 Charlie Reflector every Friday afternoon. We have usually about a 25-minute, 30-minute net. We have people checking in from all over the world. Unfortunately, it's in the middle of the workday for most people here in America, but
Yeah.
we'll have to. We keep saying we're going to do a net that's United States friendly, and it just hasn't happened yet.
We have talked about doing a regular Toads net. That's our,
Just need
our,
a net
our
control.
Discord.
So
But finding a time that works for overseas and for US, right? Like you're saying, Ed, your net, I'm at work when you're doing
Right.
that. So, of course, I could tell my boss I'm on the phone with the firewall company if he asked, and
There you go.
you know.
Oh,
So-
wow. I can't do that.
Steve, what we're going to do is this is where we deviate from the ZumSpot instructions a little bit,
Okay.
because we're not doing a ZumSpot. We're actually doing just that regular HS hat. So we're going to comment out the Liber kit and then define MMDVM HS hat Rev 12, which is actually 1.2, but you know.
Okay.
Then
Anything
scroll
else?
down. Yep, enable ADF 7021 because it's got that on there. We're not duplexed. You have a 147456 clock on it. Yep, that's good. And gain is fine. Host communication. So we're going to comment out USB and we're going to uncomment the USART1 host.
Okay.
I2C, not worried about. Scan mode, fine. Serial repeater, we're not worried about. Everything else looks good. And long USB, enable debug. And there we go. All right, we're good.
Oh, crap.
Save
Oh, it
and exit.
works.
Yeah.
I couldn't do Control W because the browser
Yeah.
captured that key. Okay. And then make.
I'd use J4. Yeah, there you
I
go.
did.
Perfect. That's nice and quick.
Okay. And then what else do I have to do? Do I need to do all that restart stuff, or where do we go
So
next?
yeah, you do have to shut down all the services that are running on Pi-Star so that we have exclusive access to the serial on the board.
Right, those are all stopped.
Mhm.
And then what's next?
Now it is sudo make ZumSpot Pi. It's all the same
Do
command.
we need to make ZumSpot Pi?
Yeah, I mean it's all the same command. So if you actually take a look at the make file, they're all running the same thing.
Okay.
And there we go. Now we're flashing.
No fancy lights.
You won't see any fancy lights till it reboots. I think it does it twice. I think it does the flash twice. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Ruben, glad to see you.
I just dropped a M17 Discord server invite into our chat, Jim.
Okay.
If you want to share that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is now done, Steve. So
Yep.
we just restart those services or reboot?
I'd reboot the whole thing. Reorbit.
Working
Guys,
well.
there is the M17 Discord server. I'll just put that in the chat.
One of the things that I've been working on, speaking of the Discord server, is getting live audio from our Reflector into Discord.
Oh,
So
that
there's-
would be swank.
There's a way to do a stage in Discord. So I just have an audio bridge that takes all the audio from the All-Star interface and pipes it into Discord on the stage. So anybody can come in and listen in on the Reflector at any given point in time. So I'm going to test it out during the net this week.
I will be tuned in.
Sweet.
I won't be talking, but I'll be tuned in.
Yeah, I don't think I want to enable people to talk on the Reflector just yet.
Don't know that I would do that.
Hey, you got an update available.
Do I do that? Do I risk it?
Yeah. I would always make sure that you keep up to date.
Yeah, let's do the update.
What's another 5 minutes?
We're in this far, right?
We are close to surpassing our record for nuggets right now.
I think I'm just going to stream every day from now on.
You should be doing it by yourself, son.
Well, tomorrow I'm going to be on Ham Radio Clubhouse.
Oh, are you?
Yep.
Ape was first. Oh, no, Chuck was. Well, I think Ape hasn't Ape been on there. I thought he had.
No, I was first.
Okay.
Like a year and a half ago. First off, I'm the one who told them to do it. They weren't going to do it without me, right, Joe Brett? And then I told them no dues, and then open membership.
I was on there too. I might have been on there before you.
So now I feel left out, Steve. We weren't on there. Clubhouse
Yeah.
guys, get in touch with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Brett.
Brett, bring him up. You guys can come on tomorrow night. I'll pass you the link backstage.
Tomorrow night's hockey night.
We'll sneak in.
Right.
We got
Nobody will
gate
notice.
crashers.
I'll have my clipboard. And people will let me
Yeah,
in
that's
anyway.
right. You'll totally fit in.
All
So the
right.
update
So you
is
got your
done.
updates done. Yep. So you can go back to the dashboard now.
Okay.
And there we go. Now the modem is actually showing up.
Oh, okay.
So
1.6
now-
instead of 1. Nothing.
Yes, sir. Now you can go to configuration. And oh, that's new.
The big yellow,
Well-
yeah.
Yeah, we'll ignore it for now.
Of course.
Chip will probably chastise me for that later. So yeah, just scroll down to the MMDVM host configuration, enable the M17 mode,
Ka-chow.
and then apply changes. We do the reboot dance. Restart. It's not actually rebooting.
It's funny how my mouse cursor is 2 bars tall on the screen here
But
for
it's
me,
so
and
tiny.
it's a little tiny speck for you guys.
You'd think it would be the other way around. That way people can actually see where the mouse is.
Well, that's the whole reason why I made it big. But if you all can't see it,
Ah.
because it gets in my way, it takes up like 3 letters on my screen when I'm trying to type in a box. Okay, so we have now done.
Yep.
M17.
So
Let's go
scroll
back to
down.
dashboard.
Scroll back down on the.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Wait,
Yep. Scroll down. All right. This is where you set the MMDVM configuration. So just for the sake of doing it, go ahead and choose the Reflector M17-M17. There's a search bar if you don't want to scroll.
You do not like to scroll.
And then click
Nice.
that. Startup module, set it to Charlie. And
Charlie.
can be can remain at 0. That's fine.
What is CAN?
CAN is channel access number. So if you think
Okay.
of DMR color code, P25 NAC, NXDN RAN, CTCSS.
Yeah. That's an excellent analogy, too, comparing that to the CTCSS.
Yeah. I mean, we figured that other modes have that functionality. We might as well
Right.
build it in as well because
Exactly.
we don't want repeaters, stomping on each other if they're close by.
So
Okay.
using that code, you could create separate nets of M17.
Yep.
Yeah.
So why is M17 red?
You're asking me?
It might
That's why I brought you here.
it might take a minute.
Yeah, but it shouldn't because it's the only thing running.
Refresh your screen, Steve. Okay. I mean, when I restart PyStar, the PyStar interface is up before my protocol goes green.
Yeah,
For,
I'd go to
15 or 30 seconds sometimes, I think.
So we're going to check out the new logging system that Chip put in. Go ahead, scroll up to the configuration. Oh, well, yeah, you're applying again. That's fine. So maybe that yellow bar is significant.
It just wants me to save, which I can do that.
If this was Windows, I'd tell you to reboot it again.
All right, there we go. Configuration. Yellow warning message gone.
Yep. Okay.
System time zone is not Europe, London. It is US/
Oh, that may be
No,
part of
it's
your
America
problem
/ New York. Eastern time zone.
too. Not for Steve.
No, I'm in Central.
It is for me. It's the
Yeah, you
best
don't
time
count.
zone.
Oh, you people.
Could it be the modem baud rate? It was 9600 in the config. Where did that change?
9600.
Yeah, 115
Well,
200.
when we did
Find modem.
yeah. So it was set to 190 or 9600.
No, it was set to 115 200.
Yeah. So it should be fine.
See, right there.
Yep.
Dashboard. Nope.
Okay. So we're going to check
Still
out the
red.
new logging stuff. So if we go to advanced, or it might be under admin actually. Yeah. Live logs.
Live caller.
Live logs. 2 over. All right. We're going to look at MMDVM host. Yep. Oh, so this is only going to tail it. It's not going to show you the previous stuff.
Yeah, that works just like PyStar. You can see what's happening after you turn that on, but
There was another set thing that Chip put in for logs. Let me check the dev notes.
I have been trying to play along here on my PyStar, and I've got M17 enabled, but I cannot get it to show up as a mode.
Received a knack to the set config from the modem. Yeah, maybe a reboot will fix it.
Okay.
Actually, do a power pull as well, so that we know that the MMDVM board is actually powered off and starts up with a new firmware.
Why does it say duplex in dashboard? I don't know.
Oh, Jason.
Yes,
Boston. Jesus.
I work in Boston. Come on.
Exactly.
My second favorite city, other than Boston, is Chicago. I do have to say that.
I miss Chicago. I miss the food in Chicago.
Video mode duplex.
Don't tell me you missed the hot dogs and pizza.
That will be the problem.
I
That was
miss
a
the
good
pizza
spot.
and real Italian food because there ain't no real Italian food in Alabama.
The pizza in Chicago is,
So
I
check
don't
that
start
and-
with me with that
hot, man.
New York
that modem
pie
setting
mess.
But when I was in Chicago over the summer, I met up with Dude, and he took me for an Italian beef sandwich.
Those are
Yeah,
yummy.
bring it back up
That's
to the
great.
old one.
Really good stuff.
Yeah, there's.
That one.
I miss Italian food. Real good Italian food.
I can almost make you out.
Don't
Between
worry,
the two
I
ants.
can get louder.
Talking
The
about
two
food.
ants. Whatever.
Yeah. Aunt Jim and Aunt Ed.
Auntie.
Even on a Pi 4, this thing is slow. Modem blinky now.
Modem blinky.
And we have
Hey!
green.
Bingo.
There it is.
That was a good spot. Whoever spotted that for the duplex mode, that was good. Thank you.
That was
All right,
Doug
so
H.
you can leave that up and pick up your DroidStar and start transmitting. See what happens.
Okay, let's do Kilo Mike 9 Golf. Testing 1, 2, 3.
I heard you.
Sound like it came out of somebody else's side.
Yep, it came out of my desk phone. Had a double.
Station calling, come again, please. That's fast.
That is. I was thinking that same thing.
November 0, Victor Fox, India.
N0 VFI, thank you for the contact. You sound fantastic on my side as well. The voice quality is amazing. And I'm just hitting transmit and then talking right away. I'm not giving it any time. So on the radio right here. Let me change that.
It is actually.
Put that up there. Do that. It doesn't give me any identification when someone calls in. Steve, do you have a radio you can call me with?
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Kilo Charlie
Playing
1
cards with my
Alpha
brother's
Whiskey
kids.
Victor testing 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1.
Yeah, so there's like nothing on here that says who just called or anything like that.
So it does. The source ID is you because it's coming off of your hotspot.
Okay.
We are trying to figure out why that's happening. There is extra metadata in the stream that does show the correct caller, but it's not being displayed in DroidStar. The other clients that are out there, such as M17 client, will do that, as well as the Pi-Star Dash will show you the correct person that's calling. Even though I'm calling from my All-Star node, anybody on analog will show up as me.
There we go.
But yeah, if I transmit again, hold on. Kilo Charlie 1 Alpha Whiskey Victor testing 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Steve, if you actually hit that toggle that says caller details above the gateway activity, you'll see my call sign display in the dashboard.
In the Pi-Star dashboard.
Yes. Yeah. So if you just click on that caller details toggle.
There it is.
Yep.
No, I'm on the wrong screen. I'm clicking on the stream share.
So there you go. Now you can see. I'm not actually in Dover, but yeah. Now you can see that I'm the one that's transmitting and how long I've transmitted. Even the local activity, you'll see the bit error rate, and your bit error rate for your RF transmission was 0.4. So you got a really good quality signal going into the hotspot. KC1 AWV.
So now with
Kilo
two,
Mike 9 Golf. Thank you very much.
with
Are
two
you
of
gonna
these
lowercase
setups, you can go M17 simplex.
Right.
So
nice.
skipping the hotspot. Steve and I, we were playing with this at Hamcation last year, Hamcation 2022. We had these set up, and we were getting about a block or two distance.
That's not bad with the zoom spot and your droid.
Yep,
Yep.
the same setup right here.
Okay, that is freaking cool.
Yeah, the ZumSpot USB is the same chip as the regular hotspot, like the GPIO hotspots. So you're going to get the same range out of the USB stick as well as the hotspot. So what you're comfortable with on the hotspot, you'll get the same out of the stick as well. So there you go. Now you got to work in M17 setup.
Right. So now I got to check into the net. When is the net again?
Friday
afternoon.
1700 UTC.
So
Right, Friday 1700 UTC.
noon our time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until
This is
daylight
awesome.
savings catches up with the other countries.
Oh Lord, one day.
Oh, looks like Ted has a Pi Zero 1.1 that he was able to get us heard on. I'm glad to hear that that's working.
XD transmitting M5 stack.
Oh, nice. I did not hear that on my side, though.
I have got to get me an M5.
Ed, I didn't hear you.
The gain is set a little too high on that, bud.
go to my mouth now. November 2, X-ray Delta Delta.
Nice.
T.O., are you hearing? Are you getting that on your side?
No, it's not coming through on mine.
Hmm.
Let's go back to my hotspot. Present, share screen.
The Zoom spot is 140 at HRO, and if I'm correct, and
Oh, you
we
dropped
mentioned
your
this
network
earlier,
connection.
I think the Northwest Digital DV dongle gadget is about 100.
Why did that drop? Kilo Mike 9 Golf.
Well, let me check the dashboard, see if you actually did drop.
I just transmitted again and it connected again.
Ah,
I seem to remember every
And
time I've
2XDD,
played with
Kilo Mike
DroidStar,
9
it's
Golf. Are you out
kind
there?
of sketchy.
N2, XDD, no copy.
No copy. No copy for me, Ed. Although I guess if there was no copy, I wouldn't have been able to tell you there was no copy.
hold on, let me try it from my side. KC1 AWV testing 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Ed, are you able to hear me? Oh yeah, I sound mousy. I sound mousy on Ed's side. Steve, I've also noticed that it still thinks that you are transmitting into your hotspot. So maybe that's the
Try
the
the DroidStar app.
Right. That's Kilo Mike 9 Golf transmitting from DroidStar.
Oh, I was on speaker. Oh. Yeah, I didn't hear you. Well, you had a working M17 setup.
I did. What did you
It
guys
broke.
do?
We just this is why we can't have nice things,
Well, we should have ended the stream 5 seconds ago.
right? Oh, it works. Hey, good night. See
Hey,
you
it
later.
works
Bye.
great. All right, bye.
Now this begins the second hour of Nuggets, where we do the troubleshooting. Even more in-depth troubleshooting than we did the last time.
Right?
Yeah, we'd have to look at the logs and see if it's not. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
What?
confirmed.
Did you look at what it says?
Are you bantering? You
It
guys are
says-
bantering.
49 seconds ago. It's a count up timer from the last time that you transmitted.
Yes.
I'm sitting
not
here thinking
currently
that it's still
transmitting.
thinking it's transmitting. But, all right.
Now I'm transmitting. This is Kilo Mike 9 Golf transmitting, 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 stopping transmitting.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't say that you're connected to the Reflector. You might have to go back to configuration and reapply changes so that way it reboots all the services.
How can I figure out what port my...
The radio station said he was
It's in your
standby
MMDVM
mode on the
host file.
dashboard, K0WAV.
Says you're in standby mode on the dashboard.
Yeah, the top left it said M17 standby on the
Oh,
dashboard.
yeah,
screen.
standby. That just means that. So there's a RF hang time. So if you see RF hang time is 20, basically if the hotspot sends or receives any RF, it'll wait 20 seconds before going back into scan mode.
Right.
That's what the standby means.
So now we're doing a soft reboot. We're restarting
Yes.
all the services. We are connected again. Kilo Mike 9 Golf.
Kilo
Testing
Mike
one
9.
more
There you are.
time.
Testing one more time.
Ed, give him a call on the M5 stack. See if it stays connected.
That work that time, Steve. K0WAV.
Scott, thank you.
KM9G from November 2. X-ray Delta.
That was pretty good, Ed.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good, Ed. I got a little bit of air sound coming over the airwaves there, and then I also heard Scott K0WAV nice and clear.
Nice and clear.
Why does the dashboard say triplex?
Yeah. While you guys have been debugging that, I have been apparently while regular PyStar fully updated, and I did reflash my modem. Still won't. I went into MMDVM host. It's like a Pavlov response.
Based on that, wanted to shake my headphones off.
And I cannot get PyStar's not giving me an option for M17 yet.
So you will need to install W0CHP- on top of PyStar.
Yeah, I figured that's where I was going to have to go. It's kind of weird that they have the support for it enabled in the default PyStar.
So Andy was going to put M17 into PyStar, but because of the requirement for the firmware update on the modem board as well as the binary update,
Okay.
he was working on it but never got around to finishing it. And that's where, like I said, that's where Chip kind of stepped in and said,
Gotcha.
I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Well, I've never messed with it, so I thought I would tinker with that while we're here, and I've enabled everything in PyStar, but I'm not getting the option for it. So I'll have to do that. I'll put the chip thing on there. And I also am going to need to order an M5 tomorrow. So
I think Steve has the Amazon link for the M5 and the little microphone.
I did.
It's an Adafruit microphone.
It is a shopping list on my Amazon. My lists.
we had Flex on. That didn't work out well for me either.
Yeah, you bought a Flex during that stream. I'm here to spend your money, Jim.
It's like the Ham Radio Workbench podcast. Those guys are always spending each other's money.
Right.
So Cape Cod said, I'm glad real radio is not this difficult. So there's a couple of things that we did that were outside of the normal realm. I had to update the firmware on my MMDVM hat, and I had to update the firmware on this guy down here. And now I've got two cameras going, so you can actually see me counting. And then after that, it was relatively easy to do the software install. You do not need to do the W0CHP software install unless you want to tunnel through the internet, which is how I'm able to contact Ed on this little teeny tiny antenna here with USB power. So like these will work as regular radios. And this is cutting edge technology where we have designed a way to communicate over radio before the radio itself had even been invented in this case. So we're doing fantastic, I think.
So your Zoom stick is your RF deck.
Yep.
In this instance. Now we'll have to.
This is the radio, and then this is the control software.
I'll have to design a little 3D printed mount for the back of the phone.
Right.
For this.
There you go. That would totally bring in the ladies too, Ed. That would. Oh man.
And like I said, the newer version is there's no external antenna.
Yeah.
So it's built-in antenna. It's a little sleeker, I guess.
Nice.
Right.
I put the Amazon list for the M5 stack stuff into the chat there.
And we'll get you to GitHub, Jim, as well.
Yep.
Well, I think Steve put it in here.
Is it only for Android?
The Jaribi Parada MMDVM. Is that what
that's the firmware for the hats.
Oh, for the hats.
USB
Okay.
stick. But the M5. M5. See,
is this only for Android while you guys are searching?
The
DroidStar, yes.
No.
Is there an iPhone tool?
I don't think there. I think
can't you run it under? What is that? What is that iPhone program?
DroidStar?
No, there's an iPhone program that you run DroidStar under. Because
I'm looking up Droids.
It's not on the Apple Play Store. Test Flight? Is Test Flight the
Test
program?
Flight.
Test Flight is that's
the beta
system. I thought you were talking about this right here, which is repeater phone. Oh, hey, look, you can see the little infrared thing flashing.
I have test flight already because I. Now, do you guys have to send me an invite?
So Doug hasn't updated the DroidStar for test flight. If you see, it says DroidStar beta has expired. So until Doug renews the beta program of DroidStar for iOS, that's where we're at. The only devices that can run DroidStar right now are Android or if
Windows.
you compile it onto Linux.
I've got a couple Droid. Well, this is actually a Note 9 that's my camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got an S7 around here somewhere that was the old lady's also.
You can pick up an Android phone for $50 or $60. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good ham radio tool.
Yeah.
Walmart.
Yeah. I mean, you can go on eBay and find. Yeah. I mean, my wife is
EV switch on there, Echo Link,
Yeah.
DroidStar.
My wife is an Android gal. I'm an iPhone guy. It's a mixed marriage, so
I'm the
did you
lone
still make it work?
Android user in my household.
Are you?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been together for 30 years. So far, things seem to be going okay.
Until you're both home and retired.
Oh shit! I'll be out in the shop
All day.
all day.
That's what you think.
I could smoke and fart out there all I want, and I don't get judged.
I've been doing that the whole time while I've been on this stream.
TMI.
Yes, Jason, the RT3 does need a hardware modification. So basically, that's the MD380 radio. So if you check out openrtx.org, there's some information there about the modification for the RT3 and running the custom firmware for M17. But again, it's a work in progress, so it's not the solution,
Right.
in my opinion. The OpenRTX guys have been doing great work over there, but if you want to jump in head first into M17, then we got to get you something a little bit easier. DroidStar seems to be a good starting point for a lot of people. If you don't want to go the whole USB stick and just use DroidStar over IP, it's a start.
I have
Zoiper
joined your
app.
Discord.
What is the Zoiper app? So I don't know the answer to this question. Check with your local ham radio club or your local volunteer examiners. LARG, GLAARG, or call up the ARRL. They'd be happy to answer you. I know that it's not normally, I don't know like the levels, but having a record is not a 100% deterrent. It's how serious your record is. So I'm not a lawyer, though. I'm about to say that.
Well, I've watched every episode of Law and Order. I'm just saying.
Dun dun. There we go.
Get your headphones working. All right, folks, I think we've gone as far as we can go with this. We have everything actually working, and we've made contacts. It was a touch and go moment there for a while I had to go backstage and whip Linux into shape and get this thing on the network, but I did it. And then with Steve's help and with Ed's help and with Jim's help, we got everything rolling. Jim was just here to eye roll and judge, and he did that very well with the WPA supplicant part.
I mean, it took you, 15 or 20 minutes to get the Wi-Fi fixed?
I did it, though.
Without using the supplicant.
It's like playing cards with my brother's kids.
Exactly.
So what movie is that from?
Tombstone.
Tombstone. Billy Bob.
Yeah.
You called down the thunder, well, now you got it.
We might be Tombstone fans.
Might be.
Maybe a little bit.
Folks in the chat, thank you for sticking it out this long. We did get it to work, and this time it was all our own faults. No, it wasn't.
By the way, according to my watch, that is 2 hours and 45 minutes. I believe that is the record now.
Excellent.
And this
The
was
Nuggets
not filled with nearly as much frustration as that damn D-Star stream was. So
if you guys are not on the inside track, what happened on the D-Star stream was we tried to do D-Star in terminal mode over the internet without a hotspot, And the server we were connecting to on the far end was not set up to receive that type of configuration. And we spent 2.5 hours trying to figure out why. And in the last 5 minutes, I changed servers on the far side, made a connection, no problem.
And it worked fine. Yeah.
That's usually how my day at work goes as well. Trying
Yes.
to get two systems to talk. Let's do it over IPsec instead of some other VPN tunnel. Oh, hey, it works.
Yeah.
We'll just stick with IPsec then.
We got a vendor that wants to VPN in so they can manage their crappy database app. And so the IT department sends me this list of about 5 or 8 servers, and I'm like, really? Do they really need to connect to all 8 of these? And why are we not doing an IPsec VPN site to site? Because it'd be a hella easier. And they decided, the vendor, the programmers, bless their hearts, said, well, we can't do that for security reasons because of our other customers. You know, that's not how this works, right?
Yeah, no.
Kills me. You're killing me, Smalls.
I have to set up phase 2 for 47 different subnets in our
Sweet
offices.
Jesus.
I literally have it copy and paste now.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're migrating well, I guess Steve's trying to shut the video down, so let's let Steve do that.
I am. I want to go to bed. You know, when I
Well,
start
this is getting pretty late for Sparky. That's right.
It is. So m17project.org. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Steve. And there are links in the chat down below, in the description down below in the video. And then stay tuned for more information. Whenever there's a new update on M17, the guys will be back and we'll do something new.
Awesome.
73, everybody.
Good night, all.
73.
73.
Bye, y'all.
Clickety click.
Free bird.